So let's get this. There we go. So we're back to Abandoned Ship. I have had a really weird schedule the last little while. I would love to do some more Stellaris. I've been having a really good time with the Lithoid Species Pack, but I'm a little gun shy on Stellaris. I got some news which is largely good. But so I'm on the job market. I have a job right now, and I don't see any future separation from it. But I am looking for an alternative, something that's a little bit more in line. And it looks like there might be a small opportunity, but it involves a coding exam, which I've never done before. So I'm feeling a little nervous about it. I'm trying to do a bit of studying. I've never done one, so I don't really know how the format works. So I've noticed, obviously I'm starting a bit late tonight, and I'm gun shy from Stellaris because I know the last time I wasn't 100% focused, I wrecked an otherwise perfectly enjoyable playthrough. So I thought I would give myself a little bit of time just to kind of push myself away from this thing that I really want that job. So I figured I would give myself some mental rest from something which kind of has permanent saves, and I would instead play a game with permanent saves. No, we're playing Abandoned Ship because it's one where I'm still learning it. Mistakes are kind of designed as part of it. And more importantly, I really wanted to get back to this. Obviously, my choices for some of the things that I'd wanted to cover would be this and Six Ages, and in terms of some of the more independent stuff that I've covered. And this one sort of seemed to meet the mix of something that would sort of keep me sufficiently occupied in terms of the crew management, but wouldn't be taxing enough in the sense of having to work around some of the more story and text based elements of. So basically, this has enough action scenes to kind of keep me engaged in a way that on a late start night Six Ages wouldn't have. So we will be getting back to Six Ages, we will be getting back to Stellaris, we will be getting back to everything. But tonight was a wonderful little open opportunity to do Abandoned Ship. I had a great time with this last time, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. So before I jump into the last save, sorry, I did want to keep it a little more brief for the start this time. But I do want to make sure I'm tagged up properly. So I should be getting a little bit better at this, but yep, we are ready to go. Also, apologies for not being more on top of uploading the YouTube VODs. Those will resume tonight. Of course, you have no way of hearing this until I've uploaded 3 more VODs online, so sorry about that. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring up some of the job stuff was I may give myself sort of the time away from casting. I might kind of give myself that time just to properly prepare for the exam, but I will announce that stuff when the time comes. So, Abandoned Ship, for those of you not familiar with it, this just came out of early access, so far be it from me not to pass up an opportunity to put out that link. So if you would like to support the stream through a purchase, more importantly support the developers, which I think is the higher priority of these two, you can buy this through my humble affiliate link, which is in chat there. Obviously, if there is a better regional price on Steam, or you have some other priority, the more important thing to me is that you do support the developers of games the developers of games that you like or that you enjoy seeing. But this is a way that you can toss a little bit of money my way. Also, a couple of fairly recent additions aside from the humble stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 is taking pre-orders on the Epic Store, so if you were thinking of picking that up, they have actually increased the share that I get from those purchases. So if you were doing that, you can put this tag System Chalk inside there. There's also a few other interesting games on on the Epic Store right now, but rather than enumerate all of it, because the focus really should be Abandoned Ship, I'll just leave that to you. There are a few different ways that you can support the channel right now. Humble will effectively allow you to use that affiliate link for anything that you want to buy. The bundles, in fact, allow you to say how much money I get. And the Epic Store will give me a percentage based on what the developer wants to give up. And I believe Epic is covering a certain portion of that. So as far as Abandoned Ship is concerned, this is kind of FTL by way of Sunless Sea. In some senses, I think that's a slightly unfair comparison just because I sort of feel like this game is its own thing, and it does it very well. I would say that it is certainly more than the sum of those two parts, but it's also more likely that you'll be familiar with the game through. If I were to use those two descriptions, you would probably have roughly an idea as to whether or not it's your thing. We are currently in an area that's controlled by pirates, so I went to port largely to make sure that I would be in a position to save for the previous stream. So we'll probably go hunting for the last pirate ship and the fort, but I'm also debating whether or not I want to go into port to see Explorers Guild. Yeah, not a whole lot, to be honest. What's my money at? 325? I don't think there's going to be that much for me for upgrades. So you know what? Let's go... Maybe we'll go hunting. Yeah, we definitely went through here. So let's go hunting pirates, and then we can figure out the next steps. All right. So the way the game works, so you're split between a few activities. In this case, these look to be pirate-controlled forts. Now, it's a little curious to me. I don't know if I'm supposed to just take out one of the forts or what, but we also have other events. Now, here, this is pure self-indulgence at this point. If I wanted, I could go through any of the paths. We've done enough activities to unlock those doors, but I do kind of want to see what happens when we take on some of these sea dogs. So let's... I'll take care of this event first, and then I think we'll move to the ship. We'll probably have to deal with one of the events of the cult that's chasing us. And then we'll see. I find forts are actually kind of hard to take on. What I might do, I think I'll try taking this one. I'll have to double back and repair if it comes down to it. And then we'll... yeah, it's actually going to be a really roundabout path, but that's life. I really like this map. Ah, floating outpost. Okay, so I really didn't need that. So instead we will head... You know what? I think I'm actually just going to take on the fort now. Strong, unyielding. The sea fort will have seen your approach for sure, and they'll be more than ready should you decide to dash yourself against it. Defeat a sea fort by killing all of its crew. If you disable the mega mortar by destroying all its 4 stone sections, the fort will surrender. So here we will engage the sea fort. I rather hope that this is not... I rather hope this is the thing that I'm supposed to go after. And this time I think I'm actually going to try an approach where we'll board the fort. Whether or not that works is another matter. Of course, while I'm at it, I might as well... I think we just drop a mortar right in the middle of the... so yeah, while we're at it, obviously we'll fire the guns just in case some opportunities come up. But mega mortar hit temporarily frozen. All right, so we will get the Oh, no breaches. So, for those of you unfamiliar with the title, this is the sea combat. Basically, you will be controlling the distance. You're going to be assigning your crew to different different activities, different positions. What I'm contending with right now is that the Mega Mortar does a really good job of taking me, keeping me from moving in closer. And of course, some of my crew is injured, so I'm just going to get everybody fresh. We're getting close to a position where we're going to be able to ram. As you can see, we've started losing some of our health. Am I able to? Yes, I am able to inflict some damage. So let's I'll take out the I guess the medic will self-heal, but. I'm gonna keep the navigator at the helm. The reason for doing this is so that we can do the ram. Cannot be used against the sea fort. Well, that is a pity. So let's move in closer. I do hope that we are able to. I do hope we're able to board, because if we can't, that's going to be very inconvenient. We've certainly taken quite a bit of damage for the effort. Okay, let's realign. I'm still going to hit this in the middle. We'll send one just in case to this segment. We'll start taking out other parts. And of course, I have no use for the chain shot right now because this doesn't have any sails. We should be able to get the grape shot on the two comrades here. I am most curious. No, we're still. So it seems. We don't have our mast anymore. So that damage was recorded here. It's definitely a very costly fight. Alright, showtime. Or maybe not. Okay, yeah, we can get some people on board, so we'll take advantage of the opportunity. I've basically got a Marine and a Captain, which are pretty good. They're pretty good fighters, so we'll take out the medic first. This one doesn't. Cool. So the sense behind this one is just if I can focus down one. If I can focus down one at each point, I'll have an easier time. I have the advantage of numbers. Now, that basically took half my ship health. I need to figure out a better way of taking out forts, but the risk of attacking a sea fort is massive, and the reward is commensurate in material terms and the legend of your name. So now we'll see whether or not it was worth it. We'll leave combat. Alright, so we did clear that out. That means that we aren't considered pirates, and normally I would go for the ship. You know what? Let's go for the ship repair anyway. So the cult hasn't really got any points of pursuit yet. The nice thing about this is, depending on how much healing we get, not that much. So I'll be able to do some of my tasks. Probably not against the fort, though. I'll be able to do some of my tasks, and then I'll be able to decide whether or not it's worth repairing before. So what are one of these? Vessel spotted, intentions unknown. So we should be able to take on at least one. So a ship moves within range, and before you know it, they've opened fire. A lucky shot destroys the helm section. You'll need to perform some mid-battle repairs before it's usable again. Okay, this will be exciting. So, let's get the right people on the task. So we're gonna focus on the I can never remember what this is called. Yeah, this is the mast. So and this is the helm. Yes, I am ashamed that I I needed to make that distinction. I'm gonna get the boss man on the mortar. And here I'm gonna try something new on this one. Oh. So we're still gonna have a staggering between the... Oh wow. Looks like we don't need to worry. Looks like they want to get close anyway. At least until I can ram. Okay, so this is why they're all hiding back there. They've all got mortars, so this will be a little scary. Okay, so let's repair the holes and so this is a bit of a questionable decision because they do have a healer and a couple of marines, so I probably should get this guy healing before anything. But I think what we'll do is we'll swarm the marine and then the captain. Alright. Not the navigator though. Okay, one down. I kind of want to get their best combatants out. I'll take my navigator out. Okay. So this focusing down strategy seems to be working pretty well. I'm going to take this guy out just because they're doing the most damage to the crew member that I don't want to lose. I'm actually going to pull them out of the fight. And I think the captain's going to be able to handle it, but... yeah, it's a little risky. Took advantage of the wave, and then where do you go? Okay, so this one's a little bit more in line with the strategy I normally employ, which is to close the gap as quickly as possible, minimize the damage to the ship, and then take out the crew on the decks. So we are doing okay. I suppose the question now is, yeah, you know what? I'm feeling lucky, so let's go after the last two. A vessel spotted. Its flying colors that signal the crew is starving from lack of food. The crew seem eager to help, but patiently await your orders. A great pity. Let's share as much as we're able. Your crew carry over a good number of barrels filled with useful supplies. The starving crew sob with relief, but some of your crew look uneasy at how much you're giving away. Well, that's a bit of a shame, but... we made a friend, so let's go straight after the bad guys. Again, we're at half health, so I want to be a little careful about this, but I feel like we can manage the battle. So the vessel guarding the sea area seems to think you are easy prey. They're not the first to make such a mistake, and it likely, won't be the last time you capitalize on it. So I think we're going to try the same strategy as we normally do. Get in close and then board them. The good news here is it looks like they don't have a marine. They actually have a very similar setup to to what we normally have. So again, we'll focus on the... Actually, for this one, because they're reasonably weak, I think it's going to be all hands on the mast. And then I'll drop a mortar where it'll do the most damage. Yeah, I'll do it here. I'd kind of like to try and damage the captain, seeing as they're the better fighter, but I also need to deal with the practicality that the edge of the mortar is not going to be as strong as the center. Okay, so we're going to be able to close the gap. Yeah, we're ready to go, so... So here we're prepping for the impact. We managed. So... Before we do that, let's just... Nonsense. Oops. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take the gunner, put them on the grape shot. Again, there's not a major reason to be a little careful. My captain's taken some damage here. I should probably also stop dropping mortars on my own people. Okay, this has just gotten scary for my captain. I think we'll pull everybody back for some healing, and they'll get a face full of grape shot in reply. That really didn't do enough damage to be worth it, but... I'm confident we're going to be able to... Oh, Jesus! That's me. I don't think there's a saving me. Oh! Play yakety sax! Okay, we did take down the captain, which makes me feel good. I think for this one I'm going to send my... Yeah. Made it! I think I just tagged my own guy with that. Okay, cool. We'll be able to gang up on this guy. I should probably get the Marine out just in case, but the salty sea dog should be able to handle it. I've been a little more careless with my people than I should be. Oh, that was my guy I was trying to take out. A fine victory. Your crew find great trunks in the hold of preserved fish and citrus fruits. Welcome provisions for recovering their strength. So yeah, it was a risky one, but the key here is that flesh can be repaired. Ships, well, I mean ships can be repaired too, but not in the same way. All right, so it looks like this guy's coming straight for me. Let's see if I can get a repair in. Probably not. No, they really want to get me. Having proven yourself troublesome, the pirate faction leader has hunted you down to end your meddling. So this one, I'm really not sure what we're up against. Let's see if we can make sense of this. Okay, so we will... This is a tough one. Okay, I think I'm just going to drop bombs on the captain. Again, we're going to go straight for the mast if I can. We'll close the distance so that we can ram. It looks like we're both at exactly the distance we want to be. So this one's a little bit more of a fair fight. We should be able to capitalize on a couple of... Yes. I'm going to try and be a little bit more generous with my grape shot usage. Okay, so here I'm gonna, because we know we've taken out the mast, I'm now going to start targeting areas that I think crew members that can be injured will be in. Then we'll get one more hit of the grape shot off. Ooh, clever. All right. So it just gives me more opportunities to fire the grape shot on them. Again, that mast is shredded, so we're in decent shape. I just need to wait for my navigator to get the... Oh, you know what? My ship's full of holes, so let's deal with that. So again, navigator's just generating enough for the ram. There we go. I completely forgot to do a proper brace, so let's focus on... I'm going to try and focus on the captain again. This one's going to be a little dicier, though. I'll also take the... Oop. Okay. Got to get him to man the mortar. So yeah, unfortunately, the main advantages that I had from that, I just lost because of my... Ooh, we probably took a lot more damage than we needed to for that. So yeah, most of my advantages in that exchange I lost because of the... I was careless and didn't brace like I was supposed to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on my guy's health. I'm going to focus more on the bottom left here. It's a little easier for me to distinguish between friend and foe. Let's try and take out the Marine if we can. Okay, so my gunner is in danger. I want to be careful about that. The Marine... Nah, you know what? Everybody back. Gotta... Oh, we're so close to being able to take out that Marine, but... I'll give him a surprise. Clever. I definitely don't want to lose the ship, so we'll wait for this to get ready to go again. Nope, and looks like we're not close enough to be able to... Okay, so we're not close enough to be able to ram again, so we'll move back. We might have just sunk that. So in this case, I want to be careful about doing any more damage to the ship. But we are taking out their Marines, so... So a little bit like FTL, pausing helps a lot in this game. I'm probably a little too trigger happy on the pause. Hey, Captain Zergy, sorry, I didn't see your message there. I'm so engrossed in the combat. A fine victory. Your crew finds great trunks in the hold of preserved fish and citrus fruits. Welcome provisions for recovering your strength. All right. So here I want to go back to the town. I get some cheap repairs anyway. Is it the docks? Let's do repair all. I don't really feel like I have any option. I don't really like any of these options here in terms of upgrading. Now, there might be an argument for buying additional cannon. Right, we can also buy performance. And if I was really bold, I can actually get myself a better ship. So we're on a cutter right now. Yeah, so essentially anything's an upgrade at this point. Actually, that's probably not true. Yeah, the cutter is what we're looking at. So, max 3. Yeah, so we're in a brig. So the sloop would be the next. Extra 500 health. Same crew. More storage slots. and it would more or less wipe out my wealth. I'm not entirely sure this is my best option right now. So maybe some upgrades are in order. Okay, so if I go for performance, improves section performance, the helm recharges the maneuver bar at a greatly improved rate. So we've already got that. The sick bay will heal faster. The mass section will change the distance. Will change distance at a greater speed. All weapons within the section receive a reload speed boost. So I think if I'm going to do performance upgrade, it should be on the grape shot, seeing as I'm focused on sort of taking out the flesh faster. I think I'm going to hold off on the rest. So yeah, this is just going to be a repair trip. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I were to bring Macy on, yeah, so I'd have to replace someone. Which, I mean, it certainly would not hurt for me to have a surgeon. Alternatively, another Marine. But I think I will keep the band together. Okay, one last step, and I don't remember how this works. So this is where we are. So this is where I want to go. So I think I will head north. I don't think it gives me any indication. I mean, there's a cool looking volcano and all that, but let's move up. I'm slightly tempted to move up just because it's also more costly. So if you didn't watch the last time we played this, the way that these gates work is you need to do a certain number of events to unlock sort of your passage. So in this case here, I decided I wanted to move up to this region, and I would have needed to have done 5 events or 5 tasks. Oh, and it looks like there is a travel cost. I didn't even think about that. But we've been doing okay for food. So now the game gives you a little arrow to sort of point out, hey, here are some points that might be interesting. I obviously don't want to repair right now, so we'll leave that around. Now, there is... Basically, we're being chased by a cult. Again, if you've played FTL, this is not unlike the... the rebels coming after you. But in this particular case... it seems like if the cult catches up with you, it's not the end of the run. You might take some ship damage, but by and large, it seems quite survivable. Now, I am mildly curious about this vortex, maelstrom, whatever it is. A whirlpool is a deadly phenomena for vessels that stray too close, so keep a respectable distance. Something about this one, however, beguiles your sight and stirs your heart. You snap out of the trance, and somehow night has fallen. Puzzling. You were sure you were only entranced by the whirlpool for a few moments, and yet darkness has fallen. You can't ponder long, for a macabre ship approaches fast. Prepare to do battle with a ghost ship. These are crewed by soulless automatons, easy to cut down, but can be resurrected by their foul master who captains their ship. Beware the unholy weapon they carry, whose projectiles can raise the dead. Alright, first ghost ship it is. I'm looking forward to that. Again, I'm actually not that sure. I should have said this a little bit earlier. The developer reached out with a key for this. Really well chosen. I'm not quite sure how they found me, but holy smokes, am I glad they did, because it was I really enjoyed this. But they seem to be doing all of the all the pirate tropes. They do it well, so I think I screwed that up. All right. I also need to change my default distance, I think. So we're still going to take the same approach. I'm not completely focusing the mast. I'm just letting the chain do that for now. And I'm hoping the I'm hoping the cannon will do the trick. Okay, so it looks like they're doing a good job of repairing that mast. That's a slight concern for me, actually. So I might adjust the strategy. Let's get them to deal with that fire. So yeah, we need to take this thing down a little bit faster. Well, it's a set of cannon sorted. All right. Now we can ram. I'm going to turn off the auto fire on these. And I completely forgot to brace for impact again. Oh. Oh, my navigator's out. Okay. So I'm going to get my gunner to save my guy. And looks like I blew it for being able to... Yeah, so I blew it in terms of being able to get on board the ship. So, I mean, that's on me. I'd made that mistake before even, so... What we will do instead, though, is we're going to turn the weapons to the masts, if I can. Certainly doesn't hurt to keep firing the... Maneuver bar is not changed. Oh, I haven't got my guy on the helm. Okay. So this will be a bit of a dilemma. I'm going to hold back. I might actually sink the ship from the ram. Oop. Just stop destroying my prize. Oh, it looks like they lost the captain. Okay, so this should be a pretty straightforward run, but let's see what happens to the health. Yeah, we just sank that thing. I'm curious what it would have been like to loot a ghost ship. So lesson learned. Somehow you managed to overcome these ghostly apparitions. Perhaps they had come to drag your soul to hell. So we'll leave combat. It is night no longer, and the whirlpool is dissipating. No evidence of the ghost ship remains. Did you dream the entire thing? No, for you can see the damage to the ship, along with the fresh injuries from battle. Okay, let's continue to do quests. So it looks like if I want to head back south, it's going to need to do 7 events. But right now I'm doing the events just because it keeps giving me resources, and I think I'm acquiring more resources than it costs me to repair. So in this case, it seems pretty profitable to stick around the area and engage in battle. So, a ship is badly damaged and being repeatedly assaulted by a pirate. Perceiving you to be a threat, they switch their attention from the weakened ship and onto yours. Okay, so let's see if we can be a little bit tighter on the combat here. So again, we'll set ourselves up. We will do the auto fire on the mast. Now, generally, it seems like I've had more success in focusing down the mast. And then they do have a medic on board, which is always frustrating. So in this case, I'm just going to drop mortars on the captain. It won't necessarily like finish the job, but also let's lock that in. I used to want to go closer, but now I've decided that this position is the best. For me, at least. Oh, I probably fired this to the wrong spot, so let's realign that. Yeah, I still want to drop it on the captain. Man overboard! Really? Oh. We lost our marine. So we won't be able to fire the cannon, but the good news is I'm going to bring him on the ship and then we're going to ram. Oop, and I've actually been ready with some grape shots, so... Okay, he's on board now, so set up for the brace. And we'll get the boarding party ready. Now this is gonna injure me for a boarding action, but we don't really have any way around it, so we'll just bring the people we can on. And I'm going to employ the same strategy I did before, which is to... So it looks like they have a captain standing somewhere. Oh, the captain's over the edge. Now I shouldn't have fired the mortar. My guys are going to take some damage from that, so let's get them out of the way. So captain just got washed away. So these little red spikes here, that's what caused all the damage for my guys. But again, it seems like grouping a bunch of the crew together to focus down one guy is a really good way of... I mean, again, attack being the best form of defense in this case. You're mitigating damage by eliminating damage dealers. You give the order to move close to the vessel you save, but not before your crew are able to collect anything of value from the wreckage of your enemy. Now, one thing that interests me is it looks like so far the game has not had me be boarded. It will be interesting to see how that turns out over time, because I have a feeling at the moment I've been engaging ships that are weaker than me, and I don't think that will always be true. The ship was so severely damaged that by the time you approach, its masts are slipping beneath the waves. The ship sunk quickly, leaving no remains or valuable flotsam. There is little to do but feel glad it's not you and carry on. Now, I haven't done a whole lot to get my wanted level up. This means that I might want to start being a little bit more piratey. Obviously, we've been doing okay as far as resources are concerned, but I am sort of letting a resource go to waste in the sense that I'm not really, my wanted level's going down, but I don't have anything to reduce it. So this is an unknown event. I will go into port, but I'll go into port when I need to repair. A particularly upbeat shanty leaves everyone in high spirits. I wonder if it ever explains... So, current ship-wide morale. I don't know if it ever really explains what morale does. This is one of the things that's a little less clear to me. Maybe it says something inside here? Not from the obvious titles, but all right. So I'll just follow where the arrow takes me. Oh right, this I believe gives you a wider view of the map. So we can get a... Oh wow, it actually shows the whole thing. So I think that's cult activity. I'm assuming this is... I actually don't remember what this is. Now would not be a bad time for me to pick up this repair. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Again, the idea here is trying to take advantage of resources when they're available. I kind of consider wanted level to be a resource as well. So, a ship trailing large fishing net sails nearby, signaling that they are looking to trade. The captain explains they have a bumper catch and need to offload some before port or risk wasting the surplus. They offer to sell the excess at a generous discount. I don't think I really need either, but the fact that I can get it at a good deal is attractive enough. All right, a critical rope snapped, leaving the helm useless. You set to repairing it, but for all intents are dead in the water. While in this predicament, a ship moved in range. You watch them, unsure of whether they mean to help. It seems they're watching too, and once they establish your predicament, move into attack. So my strategy of getting in close is less... that's kind of... challenged now. We'll still keep doing the usual routine, dropping bombs on everyone's moms, and it just means that we'll have a little bit more time repairing before I'm able to do any of this. So it looks like they want to get maximum distance from me, which I suppose makes sense, and then we'll just do what we can to lock in. So I think because we're so far away, we can't see the kind of damage that we're doing to their masts. But I'm okay with this because we really, we really kind of know what we're trying to. We kind of know what we're trying to accomplish here, no matter what. And it actually looks like we're closing it. Okay, no, we were able to damage them pretty well, actually. I think we are still going to focus on the mast, as tempting as it is to do some damage to their guys. We're out of range, so we'll let that close in. I want to fire this as soon as possible so that we can reload it. And then we will go for the ram. Who did we lose? Okay, we'll get the gunner on the... Okay, it was the sailor, so I'm okay with that. Let's disable the auto fire. Okay, so we have them at a disadvantage, so I'm going to take my 2 guys in to take out the captain. Surrendered. The enemy begs that you accept their terms of surrender. The sounds of battle cease while both sides await your decision. Yeah, we'll mercifully accept their surrender. Ceasefire, I said. I probably could have won that, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have less damage to the ship. All right, what are we looking at here? So cultist vessel. I think I'll focus on the southern area first, and then we'll carry on. So word is spread of a particularly troublesome pirate in the area. Defeating him would make you a hero in these parts, and the local port dwellers would no doubt reward you with special prices. By defeating this pirate, you will receive a discount at the local port. The discount will be greater if you can take the ship intact. So this will be good. I don't really need the repairs, but obviously if I take my repairs in ports which charge less, that'll make me pretty happy. So we will attack. And again, attack is pretty much my default option until I run into something I can't bully. As usual, we'll focus the mast because that's been working well for us so far. Oh, it looks like they want to get right into it. Well, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so they've got the spikes, which will damage me when I charge in. I'm still going to do it, but I should just know what the cost is. And in this particular case, I think I'm going to focus on the captain just because they're going to be the better fighter. So we will take some damage for this, but it's worth it. Okay, so we will stop the auto fire on everything. Looks like this guy's got to go do some repairs. Get my dream team ready to go, and in this case I think I'm going to get the gunner to I'm actually going to get some of my other crew to participate. So it's going to be a little bit of a mess on the ship here, but okay, so now we need to figure out who we gang up on. So I don't like what's happening to my gunner right here. So we'll get 2 to go focusing on their gunner. The Marine's taking on somebody that they outclass, so I'm okay with that. And let's make sure that my gunner is going to safety. Alright. We're feeling good. And they don't take damage for jumping over the railings, so... Alright, having taken the ship intact, you are able to collect several trophies that you can use as evidence of your glorious victory. Having captured the enemy ship will grant you a greater discount at the local port, and wanted level decreased, although I don't have any shipping lanes to raid, obviously, so... Looking good. Achievement unlocked, Crew Killer. Oh yes, by the way, I'm sure some of you will have noticed that Steam has got a new sort of library feature. I actually rather liked the way this game looked when it was in there. I'm sure a lot of developers are annoyed at having to, to design new art for the new library, but I think it actually looks kind of good. So they definitely did a good job on this page in particular. A few maggots and worms normally infest the stores, but one open barrel was utterly riddled with them. Too much to stomach even for hardened seamen such as yourself. All right, we are looking at, another ship close here. I am tempted to go after the cultist vessel, but yes, I also kind of like the dynamic. I kind of like the dynamic features as well. The dynamic lists. Basically, I kind of made it's like unplayed games that I don't have on my computer, and I've decided that, when I have free time, and I really don't have a lot of free time, but one can hope. Basically, I've made it so that every once in a while I'll try, something that just seems completely outside of what I would normally go into. So a great example would be something like Action Hank, which is not my normal sort of game. I have it in my library. Never played it, never installed it, but, I've heard good things. And then obviously you can split by Metacritic score and whatnot. I kind of want to try ones. The one thing I really wish Metacritic would do would be to list some kind of variance. So, I think they don't actually give you a proper I don't think they give you the mean of the reviews. I suspect they have some kind of weighting in terms of what they consider to be, for lack of a better term, more credible. But I know a lot of people get really annoyed about lower scores because it affects Metacritic, and it's like, well, maybe we should just use the full scale. Like, a game that is really not good, maybe even unplayable, probably shouldn't get a 50, but there are lots like that do get like a 40 or a 50. But yeah, I just think that it is sometimes the central tendency isn't the thing that's interesting. Sometimes it is the fact that there is a split in an opinion about the title that makes it interesting. So, anyways, there's my public service announcement, because it looks like at least one person in chat hadn't seen that yet. The cry goes up. A ship is spotted. You raise the spyglass in time to see it wheel about, head straight for you. You doubt it wants to trade pleasantries. Karn says one of their problems is that they translate scores. So if you're on a 1 to 5 scale, they map it to a 1 to 100, and that's not always a good fit. I mean, kind of. I see where you're going with that. Obviously, 0, 20, 40, so on and so forth. But I would also argue, like, is 83 really more informative than 87? There's also a certain point where I think the single points are sort of noisy. And I have to assume that to a certain point that the fact that they adjust the weightings I think part of their adjustment is to factor in the fact that there's big jumps in the ratings for certain websites. I think, again, for me, my bigger issue is not necessarily how they translate value or normalize values. I think you could just as easily take a 1 to 100 site, and you could crunch it down to a 1 in 5. And whether or not you lost any resolution out of that, I'm not 100% sure, because in the end you are going to report some weighted average. But to me, I just think that, here's a good example of this. If I were to report a mean income in anybody's country, chances are it would be higher than what you would consider to be a representative income, because there's generally a lower bound to what your income can be, and there's certainly there's people with very, very, very high income. Like, whether or not there's a lower bound, there's almost certainly large outliers in terms of high incomes that skew that number. And so, the median tends to get used in that case. But sometimes when you're in situations when there is a really wide distribution of incomes, it is actually very informative to know how dispersed that is, because that will give you an idea of sort of inequality. Yeah, it's you know, to me, I'm actually less worried about whether or not. See, this is actually kind of funny to me, Karn, because I see 3 out of 5. Like, to me, I mean, this might just be the way that I'm wired. Like, I don't think multiplying by 20 changes my view on that, but I absolutely agree that there is a perception that like 60 out of 100 looks worse than 3 out of 5. I just happen to think that that's a function of the way that reviewers behave rather than it being like, I think 60 out of 100 says the same thing as 3 out of 5, but I think that's also just because I think along these lines. But again, for me, I'm not actually that worried about the scale that they use. I just rather wish that if you're going to be aggregating reviews, that you could express whether or not there is a consensus, which is a low variance on that number, or if it's a divisive one. Because I think, stuff like Cultist Simulator, or maybe even Abandoned Ship. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a quick minute here. I'm sorry for those of you who wanted gameplay only. Let's see what the Metacritic on Abandoned Ship is. Assuming that they have it. One review, 88 from Impulse Gamer, so that did well. But it's yeah. The user reviews, incidentally, are out of 10 on Metacritic, so you can explain that one to me. But yeah, so like obviously, there's only one view, or there's only one voice towards that. You know what? I'm not going to calculate a variance here, but like one example would be Children of Morta. So the bottom rating is 60. The top rating is 100, which I have to assume is like a 5 out of 5. Next highest would be 95. Now, in terms of, let's say we take the cluster of like 70 or lower, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries that are 70 or less. Everything else is 70 or above. So basically 40 of them are in what Metacritic would consider to be the green territory. 6 of them are in the yellow territory. So now, as it happens, one of those yellow reviews is PC Gamer, so you might weight that a little bit higher. But then, of course, now we're in the realm of individual taste. So, although in the interest of keeping it about Abandoned Ship, I kind of want to see what the Steam reviews on it are. So, store page, it is recent reviews very positive, 67. Oh, and looks like the developer Let's Play is on. Now, I seem to recall that it's a vodcast, but I'm always really happy to see more developers using this feature. So yes, the recent reviews, 86% of them were positive, and then all reviews are mostly positive. 71% of the 424 user reviews for the game are positive. I'm going to assume that there are a number of sort of early access reviews on it. So, yeah. Yeah, I just think that it's hard to. I don't think is this game good? Yes or no is necessarily the right question, because clearly a reviewer can't answer in the affirmative or otherwise for the entire audience. All right, let's look at what we're up against. So no medic, that's good news for me. Again, we'll drop bombs on the... I like it when they cluster the Marine and the Captain together. In this case, I'm going to set it up for auto fire on the grape shot. I just need to remember to turn it off. Alright, looks like we both want to get in close. I bet I will have the better side of it, though. So it looks like they are also resistant to Looks like they're also resistant to boarding, but got what we needed. Did we get... I hope we got that firing off, because we're boarding. Yeah, everybody's jumping on. Guys, little help. I'm probably gonna have to run around the ship with my gunner now. The captain wants him bad, so okay, nice. I did not know that you can use the bad guys. Oh crap. I did not know that you could use the bad guys' medical supplies. Okay, so they're down a Marine. My captain is bleeding though. Okay, yeah, actually they're down a bunch of important people, so let's get you to the other side of the boat. Let's get you healing. Marine should... yeah, okay. We're in reasonable shape. Come to think of it, I think I have seen some of my guys heal on the enemy. Okay. The captain's healthy enough to finish the job. So again, most of this is about minimizing the damage to the ship. So the enemy ship is well stocked. You give your orders to focus on victuals and any valuable personal effects. You find a brooch depicting a hawk and keep it for yourself. All right. Let's get a view. Right, so we're going to head straight for the cult ship. And then we'll repair and be on our merry way. I do really like little details. So I believe if you engage in a fight in sort of these clouded areas, you actually have to deal with a storm, which is a really neat touch. So I think it's a little bit more explicit in FTL in terms of what's going to affect the environment. But I will admit I kind of have a little more fun zipping around these maps. So. A cult ship has been sighted in the distance. All the eyes of your crew strain fiercely to determine its heading. You feel as though you can somehow sense the ship's intent. It maintains its course. They haven't deemed you worth investigating. Make straight for the enemy and engage them. Just as you change course, the cult ship matches your new heading. How could they know? Still, it would behoove you to make ready for imminent battle. So let's see whether or not I just made the right call there. There's a Halifron, so I'm going to need to be careful about that. Again, we'll make sure we focus on the mast. And as usual, I will try and... okay, actually it looks like they've got a couple of... Marines, so I want to be a little bit more careful on this boarding. Essentially, everybody on this ship is good at combat, so we'll probably wait for the Halifron to move on me. And then we can... you know what? I'm going to slightly adjust the plan here. Oh no, we still need to focus on the mast because otherwise we'll destroy the ship. But I can definitely make sure that I maximize the damage from the grape shot. So in this case here, I either want the Halifron to board me or I want to take it out with the grape shot. Okay, so because I don't really need the cannon, I can get the right guy to focus on what he needs. Slightly adjusting the... so yeah, it looks like the heal is enough to do the trick. Alright, well, we knew that was coming, so... and we'll get you to... so once the Halifron's done, I'll move in for a proper fight. So we'll get my get my guys to heal up. Let's get the sailor. Actually, should get my gunner on the gun. I'll give him something to think about. So I'm a little. You know what I think I'm gonna do here? I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna try a slightly different approach with the close quarters combat. So I'm gonna wait for the shot. Okay. Get in there! Now, I want to be really careful. Alright. Looks like I can't afford it, so I'm gonna take the focus approach. We'll go for the weakest guy, take him down, move on to that. The exception, sorry, the weakest of the high damage. I hope to God that we. Okay, we'll be fine. I think the captain needs. Oh God! I almost lost him. We're obviously taking on water, but no worries there. A fine victory. Your crew find great trunks in the hold of preserved fish and citrus fruits. Welcome provisions for recovering their strength. So we'll leave combat. I don't think there's anything else for me to do in the area. It says the timer's decreased. I'm a little surprised at how high it is, but we should be able to get out of this area before things turn too nasty. And in the meantime, I'm not quite where I wanted to go. We want to turn right, which is our location. And so I am quite curious about the fact that there's all these different areas. Sort of makes me think that there's quite a bit of the campaign ahead of us. But again, I'm very intrigued by how big the map is. Okay, the cherry blossom of Far Haven makes for a tranquil sight, although the port has always been a den of criminal activity. If it's illegal, odds are that it can be obtained or arranged here. Let's start by investigating the town. The Assassin's Guild in Far Haven is the world's worst kept secret. Although illegal, any officials righteous or foolish enough to infringe on guild business tend to mysteriously disappear, to no one's surprise. While everyone knows that the Far Haven assassins, it is much harder to meet them. If you have a target, you put word out and hope they contact you, which is why you're surprised when you come face to face with one. Unfortunately, your meeting takes place in a side alley, having been yanked into it and a dagger placed at your throat. You suddenly remember that if their reputation was to be believed, the Far Haven assassins kill their targets with complete surprise. If you're still alive, there must be some other purpose to your predicament. A captain sails in the Imperium Isles. They must die. This is offered to you for great reward. Do you accept? With a knife at your throat, you're not sure you have a choice. Accept. Or, if you were a target, you'd already be dead. You want no association with these people. Decline. Yeah, let's accept. The knife is withdrawn, and a bulging purse is dropped onto your chest. The contract is accepted. Know the terms. Succeed, and this reward is rightfully yours. Fail, and the contract switches to you. The next thing you know, they're gone. You woozily get to your feet and check the contents of your bag. A fine haul of gemstones and a description of the ship and captain who is your target. While the valuables are yours to keep, you know that this puts you in the debt of the Assassin's Guild. The brusque words of your assailant are not lost on you. Failure will put you on their hit list. Okay, let's go to the docks. We'll do a repair all. We're at 574, so I'm curious about the upgrade. So anti-ram, I definitely don't want that. There is an argument for the hull armor. When fired, these embed themselves into the opposite ship. The enemy cannot move further away than close range until the ropes have been cut on... So as interesting as the harpoons would be, I don't think they have a good replacement. Hull armor. For 85, I think I'll take this. The automatic winch seems interesting, but I don't think... I think for the 85, it's not quite enough for me to justify that purchase. And similar with the sloop, like to wipe out my wealth in order to be able to get a 500 hull bonus. I mean, yes, I have extra storage slots, but I think I'd kind of need to see a frigate or higher to make it work. There is an interesting question as to whether or not I want to work on any of my other performance for the mast. Wouldn't be terrible at this point. As for the rest, so section diameter cannon that trades high section damage for negligible hull damage. High damage to sections, very low damage to the hull, low damage to the crew, and higher or low. Actually, so this is one priority I can consider. For MathMe, hello sir, how's the game so far? Your internet failed, not sure if you answered the question. Nope, for MathMe, I actually just saw your message, so apologies if you had that in there for a while. I'm having a really good time with it, so I think it's always important to disclose when I've gotten a key from a developer. That was the case for this game, although I'm not sure how they found me, so there's no interest beyond the fact that I got a really cool game that I'm playing. It is worth saying that, I'm playing it again after an extended session. I think that was last week. So my elevator pitch, which I hope is not doing the game injustice, is that it's a combination of FTL and Sunless Sea. So there's sort of the narrative elements as you're jumping between ports. And I mean, anytime you mention cults, it kind of brings up those themes. And then the FTL, the combat is very similar. You have a bunch of crew members which you move between positions, and you try to manage it. Pause is definitely your friends on those. Some of the things that sort of make it stand out, I think the presentation is spot on. I really enjoy zipping around the map, and it's kind of interesting to have the appearance of the map determine the circumstances of the fight, but it's not necessarily something that you're fully consciously aware of when you're moving into a certain event, so that's kind of fun. And yeah, I've been having a really good time of it. I sometimes do get a little distracted, so I'm not sure I'm playing the game particularly effectively, but it really it's kind of tickled me in all the right spots. So I've been having a good time with it. I am aware that I'm fairly new to the game. This has been in early access for a while. I would be remiss not to get my little sales pitch out of the way. So for those of you who are considering buying this, I do have an affiliate link with Humble. So if you do want to use that does put a little bit of money in my pocket, but obviously if you can get a better regional price on Steam or some other service, I will not feel particularly offended to do so. But if you have any questions for MathMe, I will do my best to answer them. I am still fairly early on into the game. It does have a decent tutorial though, and I'll do my best to answer any questions as they come up. So, all right, the Farhaven Assassins. Head to the Imperium Isles and seek the ship matching the description given to you. Kill the captain of that vessel to complete your contract with the Assassin's Guild. So, I hope that's the right one. Imperium Isles. Yeah, we'll go east one way or the other. I'm assuming that's going to be the closest spot I can go. You enjoyed FTL and Sunless Sea? Not a bad comparison to have. Yeah, so I mean, the FTL comparisons I'll make here, you can see you've got all the different zones. One small difference is that as you navigate these zones, you are managing a real-time map. One of the ways that you unlock the next map is to complete tasks. So I've completed 6 of 6 tasks. There really isn't anything else for me to do on this map anyway. So we will go through to the next area. And in this case, I'm going to the right, which is exactly, that's close to my goal. Distance brings a new clarity. Suppressed memories tentatively resurface. Glimpses of past acts, some shameful, some proud. All of it colored by a diffuse sense of loss. Oh, one thing that will probably be important for you, for MathMe. Are maps randomly generated? Yes, there is a seed. I can probably generate the seed for this one. You'll just have to let me get out of this. It is also worth mentioning that when you are in the main screen, there's actually multiple scenarios, and they give you an estimation in terms of how long it will take to complete the adventure. So I rather like that, because I do find, like, especially for me where, I've got a job, I've basically got other things to do. And as much as I like gaming, I don't want it to be the only thing that I do, in my day to day. I think one thing that I really like about this one is that they give you scenarios which, while I think it would be fair to say, um, everybody's experience is going to be a bit different. It's probably not like a 100% reliable, you must complete it within this period of time, or you suck at games or whatever. I find it kind of helpful to have an idea of, okay, I want to sit down, I want to have, a quick fix of my abandoned ship obsession. It's got something there for me. And then it's like, no, I want to have the full campaign. I don't care if it takes me a couple of other sessions. They've got an answer there for you as well. That's a thing that I wish more games did. But obviously, I'm not able to show you that feature because I'm already in the middle of my quest. Anyways, I'll see if I can find the seed for you in just a second. Okay, distance brings a new clarity. Suppressed memories tentatively resurface. Glimpses of past acts, some shameful, some proud. All of it colored by a diffuse sense of loss. Event. A vessel traveling full sail towards you catches your eye. Something about it looks familiar, and it bears no sign of aggression. Soon after, it begins hailing you. You allow them to board, and a sprightly figure hops across. It's a young lady, richly but sensibly dressed. She tells you of their escape from the port, the one recently blockaded by the cult. The ship pursuing them broke off to chase someone else. You. I've heard of your misdemeanors, she says, but it seems we're in your debt. I may be able to whisper in some influential ears. You should have a clean slate by the time you reach landfall. She turns to leave, flashing you a grin. I'll be most interested to hear what you make of it. The sleek ship sails off towards the pinnacle of land in the distance. So, of course, again, I don't have any reputation, so I've been wasting all of these events, but Landfall was the first major colony set up by settlers from the Empire, and fast grew into their capital. It remains one of the only islands to still keep the old ways since the Empire fell. It is therefore safe from the cult's influence for now. The vaulted college here is home to the remnants of the Artificers, and remains the greatest repository and seat of learning in the known world. All right. There's another thing I want to look at. So, strike back. You found new resolution. Great library at landfall. Okay, yeah. So we're actually we're in the right place. Anyway, so it looks like here there's no cult timer, but I did say I was gonna show. Oh, here we go. Sorry, my bad. In the bottom left-hand corner here, you can see the world seed. So for those of you who can't see it, if there's some kind of a transcoding issue, by audio, it's 45263571181576904648. And for those of you who are in chat, that's the seed there. So if you understand it correctly, the game provides you with a selection of scenarios with various estimated gameplay time. Exactly. I believe the main campaign is the only one that has the tutorial, so it's probably best to start with that. But otherwise, there's not just variety in the world generation, there's variety in the types of scenarios that you see. Okay, so I can head straight to the lighthouse if I feel so inclined. Again, it looks like there isn't a timer for... This is a really good looking map. Because the timer isn't kicking around, I don't feel that pressured to get things done. I think I'm gonna go to the lighthouse just so I can see the full map. This is probably my favorite map so far. I mean, it makes sense. This is supposed to be a capital, and hell, you're missing a credit card pin. So one thing that definitely caught me by surprise in this game is the fact that the timer goes by no matter, like I could just be idling here and the cult would be chasing me. Of course, now I can see why I wouldn't have wanted to do pirate actions. I would have been demolished by this. But Anyways, let's see what Landfall has for me. We're trying to go to the library as part of the main quest, but the port beckons, a place where you and the crew can recuperate before setting back out onto sea. So I don't need to repair. I may need to upgrade the ship, but let's start by visiting the Great Library. You've never been to Landfall before. It's quite spectacular. The vaulted college looms atop the island's highest plateau, and a mossy but still serviceable path meanders up to it. You arrive at the imposing, aging, but still elegant complex. You soon track down the correct wing, and the artificer there greets you disdainfully. I am Voltaire. What knowledge must you seek, she asks. The tone of her voice and the arch of her eyebrow makes it clear that she is following the bare minimum of custom. Ask about the Kraken. She's taken aback. There's often truth to sailors' tales, but no proof exists of this one. Some kind of large whale is what you most likely saw. I think the mind-healing wing may be a better destination for you. My dialogue options are, I've seen one, fought one. I must find a way to make it surface so I can kill one. Then you will have proof. Or, if such a thing were to exist, or a monstrous whale, for example, how would one encourage it to surface? It is my duty as a captain to prepare for anything. So, I may like the shortest trip to Earth. I've never heard of that one from Athme. Let me just take a quick second here and put that. I always lose recommendations inside inside chat. So the shortest trip to Earth. Oh, this does look good. And published by Iceberg Interactive. They did Endless Space way back when, before Sega bought them. Let's do if such a thing were to exist. Well, whales will surface with time. If time is not something that you have, then a huge blast of pressure beneath or very close to it should make it surface. And how would one go about exploding something underwater? Any timed fuse would be instantly put out. While more common in the early founding days, the art of making weapons do such things is long gone. She pauses, thinking. Seemed to have appealed to her analytical mind, at least. However, sad tale, there was once an empire mining interest on an island, barren on the surface, but astoundingly rich in minerals below. The miners discovered a deep vein of metal, but learned the very hard way that it reacted violently to water. Half the mountain was vaporized. Go on. Some of the miners on the colony survive, but have since become somewhat unhinged people, who seem to thrive on the fatalism of staying somewhere an errant rivulet could result in an explosive end. I believe they call the place Devil Rock now. Go on. After the mooring up on the docks, you give permission... Oh, okay, well... we abruptly exit the library. Thank you very much for the follow from Athme. Okay, so let's take a second at the dock, see if we can get anything fancy on the ship. Again, I'm going to try and prioritize something that damages enemy crew members. So acid bomb, an acid-filled shell damages crew in the air. Oh, yep, that's exactly what I want. I believe that is a mortar. That's going to cost me 125, but I think it's worth every penny. I will get a princely 17 in response. But yeah, something that doesn't do hull damage is just what the doctor ordered there. So sure shot cannon prioritizes accuracy over damage, high accuracy, especially at far range, low damage to hull and sections, low crew damage. Yeah, fair enough. Double shot, short range cannon that fires double the projectiles, maximum range close, high hull and section damage, low damage to crew. So I definitely don't want to do that. And then there's the hull cracker cluster bomb, no hull damage, low section crew damage, moderate chance of causing hull cracks. That'll keep the enemy distracted. In fact, a really interesting strategy might be, if I get two of these things down, drop a hull cracker to cause the crew to sort of try and repair them, and then drop acid on them to give them sort of this terrible choice between having to repair their ship or lose their health. But for the time being, I'm happy to just douse them with acid. So I live in Ottawa. I do. I can't remember if I put that on the profile or not, but yes, I am I'm an Ottawa streamer, originally from Vancouver. Right, just sorry, bear with me a second here. I got a message on another channel, or not channel, but on another window, which I forgot to close, so I'm just gonna turn off those notifications. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm happy with the... Oh, that's right. I've also got... There's a difference between the weapons and repairs and the upgrades and supplies, so there might be some other cool things for me. Cool. Well, I know I run into some folks through stuff like dirty rectangles and that, so it could also be that people are just verifying that I'm the person that they met at a meetup or anything like that. But I'm really bad at remembering those details. So, all right. I think I already have the heavy plating, do I not? Nope, it's hull armor, not heavy. So it's 25. I mean, 20% reduction to hull damage. It's not that bad of a deal. Let's see what my other options are. So gargoyles, when triggered, spews out fire in multiple directions. Useful for dissuading boarding attempts. Can be used once per battle per side. So cool, but not 120 cool, given the fact that I usually want to encourage boarding. Hull spikes, metal spikes that are added to the side of the ship, increasing the damage caused when ramming. Also causes damage to enemy ships when they ram you. And then anti-boarding spikes. These spikes have been built to inflict damage on enemy boarders as they leap onto your vessel. They only damage enemy crew when they board your ship, not when they flee back to their own. Oh, that's actually good to know. So, I am tempted, even though it's really... Like, I've wasted a lot of money by buying and then selling this hull armor, but I do think the heavy will carry me through. Hull spikes are a little tempting, but especially now that I'm at 200 wealth, I don't think that's worth it. So I'm content. The only thing I might want to do differently is hire another Marine. You know, Jake Boone's not really learning much, but we'll leave it be for now. Got to put your son to bed. Going to be lurking for a while. Thanks for Mathme. And again, if you come back and I'm still playing this, feel free to ask more questions if you're so inclined. All right. So we got the quest that we wanted. I think I will make good on assassinating the target. Looks like we got a few tasks ahead of us, so... Sailing within range of a stationary vessel, you can see that they are in trouble. The crew are desperately pumping water from the ship, but there's not enough of them to also fix the hull, all the hull cracks that are scattered across the deck. Call the crew to attention and direct them towards the stricken vessel. As soon as your ship is in range, your crew leap across and begin patching up hull cracks and pumping out water. Soon they have the situation under control. The captain is understandably very grateful for your timely intervention and transfers across some valuables as a reward. You spy a ship on the horizon. It looks badly weather-beaten, and there is no visible sign of a crew. Far stranger things have happened than for a ship to lose its crews. We must seize this godsend. Your crew plumb the depths of the ship. Minutes later, they emerge at a sprint, yelling, "Nest! It's a nest!" Before you can act on the information, scores of Halifron burst onto the deck after them, some leaping straight onto your ship. Yeah, no problem at all. I love talking about the stuff that I play. I'm usually not good for like playing games at, like, I'm not a high skill player, but I definitely enjoy sharing this kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, they're covered in acid now, so you dare not linger in case more are drawn to defend their nest. You cut loose as quickly as you can and flee the area. All right, let's carry on and find more adventures. Again, flesh can heal, so I'm not too worried about close quarter combat. You're approaching a vessel. Your course is set to cross. The set of its sails, the strong wake, all telltale signs of a ship heavy laden with cargo. The stores could be essential for our mission. We can't miss this opportunity, or we will not sink to thievery, tempting as it may be. Press on and remain vigilant. Yeah, well, it's definitely, I I think part of the appeal to me, as I said, is to share the games, and part of that does mean responding to chat. I don't think it should ever be a case where one expects chat participation, but it's certainly something that I find very welcome. You know what? I'll deal with the negative reputation. The other ship's crew notice your activity and they begin to frantically wave danger flags. Investigate their signals more closely and parley. As soon as you're within range, the other ship's captain bellows out to you. A wise person would choose not to attack a ship transporting gunpowder. What sort of person are you? His crew hoist up a few barrels to illustrate his point. This is not a bluff you're willing to call, and you give the order to sail on. I'm a sensible pirate. All right, a ship is fast approaching, clearly with hostile intent. Moments before firing range, it plays off the wind and swings across your bow to target your weaker side. It was quite the maneuver, and now they've seized the initiative. In this battle, your ship has been attacked from the other side, the opposite to the one you've set by default. If you're not prepared for this, turn your ship around by pressing the Bring About button when your maneuver bar is fully charged. No amount of trickery will save them from our righteous fury, and attempt to even the odds and return to your usual position. Your crew pitch in with everything they have, but your maneuvers still can't trick the enemy captain. The enemy ship spent time priming their cannons. All right, so that means we're going to take a little more damage than we probably would have otherwise. I've got a fairly good navigator. And I'm actually not too worried about all of this. Yeah, you know what? We'll set everyone up. So we are going to take some damage for the from the spikes, but we are in a position to drop some grape shot on them. Oops, I don't want to do that.
Brace for impact.
So got to be a little careful in terms of where the other damage is coming from, but let's... Oh, you know what? It's going to be a really devious little strategy here. So I'm going to take everyone, I'm going to get them after the navigator. I'm still going to auto attack, but I'm going to put the acid right on their med bay. Okay, that didn't quite work as planned, but I think we should still be able to make this work. Let's take out their captain first. Okay, Ooh, this is... It's getting dangerous. Okay, good. Who's dying? Okay, can't have my Marine go. Okay, my captain's got to get out of there. All right, so my Marine's back in a second. I don't want to jump on the acid if I don't have to. All right, we're ready to finish this off. And honestly, not that much damage to the hull, all told, especially given the fact that they got the drop on us. You bask in the aftermath of a hard-fought victory as your crew haul back crates of provisions. This time, at least, it was worth the risk. So we'll get out of the combat. What are we looking at for any other activities? Events, couple of ships. All right. I tend to want to clean out areas. At this point, there hasn't been too much of a risk by doing certain activities. I've always had an opportunity to repair. So as long as it keeps going like that, I will carry on with my usual pattern here. Event: some freak natural selection and the ship's conditions have bred a horde of huge ravenous rats that have grown bold enough to raid the supplies directly. You send a number of the crew to thin the population. When they return, ashen-faced, they demand grog and refuse to talk about what transpired. Safe to say, the problem should be under control. For now. There's some very good writing in this. Okay, I haven't seen what this is. This is what? Lifeboat. Okay, let's be nice. A lifeboat is seen in the distance. The lookout reports that survivors can be seen on board. Understandably, they frantically attempt to gain your attention. What are your orders, Captain? These survivors are an unknown quantity. It is more prudent to leave them to their fate. Nope, let's charge, heading towards the lifeboat. You haul the survivors aboard, wrapping them in blankets and passing out clean drinking water. Some thank you profusely, and others weep at the prospect of their ordeal being finally over. There's ample space in the hold for them to recover until you can drop them off at the next port. So we could just go to the next area, but before I do that, I'd like to clear out the last couple of ship events. Possibly repair as well, but... A customs ship from Landfall has flagged you down. They'll no doubt be looking to extort some taxes for you for sailing in these waters. As you run through the scenarios in your head, you're debating which one will suit you best. We'll let them approach. As they sail within hailing range, you hope their leader is a fair man and not take more than what is owed. They're waiting for a response. Sure, welcome aboard. The customs official gave a cursory inspection and then collected his charge. You had no choice but to comply, but it galled you all the same. Death and taxes, life's only inevitabilities. It's not too much of my income. I am a little mad that the morale was lost, though. Your course is converging on another ship, and they don't seem to be moving with any real intent or purpose. Bring us closer. They may be in need of aid. The other vessel calmly presents its broadside as you approach. It looks like you took their bait, hook, line, and sinker. What if I wanted combat? Okay, so again, we'll go closer. Focus on the mast no matter what. Look for a cluster of enemies. So this one's going to be a little tricky because they've got... a marine and a captain. I think I'm still going to do this strategy of burning up the path to the med bay. We'll see whether or not it works. All right, phase 2. Let's focus down the captain if we can. Get the gunner on the... Okay, I'm pretty happy with where this is going. I do want to avoid dropping acid on my guys, though, so instead we'll drop it on the gunner up here. We're about to take out the captain, so I'm happy about that. Now we can focus on the marine. I'm gonna be... Oh, I did not want to shoot my own guys like that. My captain's in a little bit of danger, but I think we can fight through it. Nope. Let's turn off the auto fire on these for now. I think I'm also gonna have to send my marine back. But gives me an opportunity to make the med bay a little more exciting for the bad guys, and I bet we can take this guy out. Not quite. The acid will give him something to think about for sure. Ooh, please don't shoot that again. Okay, this guy's easy pickings. I should probably be bringing some more of my guys on these boarding parties just so that they can get some combat experience. So Dalton is pretty good at combat. They're great at boarding. My captain... Actually, so I'm still kind of average at everything. My navigator's getting pretty good. My sailor's still pretty average at everything. Yeah. We'll figure it out. Your crew returned from the enemy vessel, grins wide, arms laden with rations and curios. So I'll just take a minute here. I'll make sure everybody's back in proper positions. You know, I'm going to change the default settings here. So I'm going to make the gunner the default option on the grape shot. And I'm going to make my captain my default option on my chain shot. The idea here is that I kind of want the grape shot to go off as quickly as possible. I still need the ram to charge. So that's going to be the new default settings. And then we'll set everything up for auto as... All right. And I believe that is the last event in the area. So a little annoying about the taxman, but that's life. This has definitely been my favorite map so far. Okay, so clearly I want to follow through on the quest log. Unfortunately for that captain, I would prefer they be the one to perish and not me. Okay, so the Farhaven Assassins and Strike Back. So obtain Devil Rock. The island of Devil Rock has some natural minerals that could aid you in fighting the Kraken. Go and obtain some of this explosive material. I don't know if it'll mark it on the map for me, but we'll finish this mission first. So one of your crew bursts into your captain. Captain, a flying vessel with no flag has, caught us unaware. You scowl, cutting off their excuses, and scramble up to the deck in time to see the glint of cutlasses. Oh, so it looks like this is going to be a straight-up boarding? Nope, apparently not. So we'll get in range. Again, usual routine. My broadsides will be aimed at the... this is a weaker... Nah, I'll still put it in the middle. Still focus on the mast, although it looks like they want to close the distance as well. See whether or not we can charge before they do. Okay. Okay, so we'll turn off the auto fire on the rest of these. Captain... Yeah, everyone goes, actually. So this is a little concerning because they do have healers and whatnot. So I'm going to keep the acid on the worthy. I think in this case I am going to pound on the Marines to start off with. What on God's green earth is this thing about? Ah! Finish them. Again, I'd rather not be shooting my own guys. I screwed that up. Okay, fortunately my sailor is taking the brunt of the worst of it. I really got to turn this grape shot off of auto. Oh Christ, I might lose my sailor. No, but I may lose my Marine now. Ooh, I'm getting some free hits on him as he chases me around. Why are you back on the ship? Alright, that just won it for me. Cool. I absolutely do not want to find out what happens when those explosives land on the ship, but other than that, that was a good round. All right, I don't really need to put everybody back into position, but you bask in the aftermath of a hard-fought victory as your crew haul back crates of provisions. This time, at least, it was worth the risk. What's this? When checking through your supplies, you find a small gold-filled purse. Someone must have stowed it there for safekeeping and not retrieved it before it was transferred to your vessel. Normally I'd like to do the event, but I'm going to grab the lighthouse first just because it gives me a little more intelligence. Lots of stuff. I'm assuming that this is the target. Oh, maybe this is the target. Okay, well, goodies first. I'm doing okay for hull, so... Your lookout calls a warning. A ship is seen in the distance. You look through your spyglass, and it looks intent on engaging you. The ship is far enough away that you could probably outrun it, should you choose to flee. Nope, stand your ground. Again, it seems to me that there are more benefits to fighting than there are to running away all the time. Now, admittedly, I haven't tried running yet, so it could be that I just get showered with wealth for doing so, but I am doubtful, let's say. So we'll set that on auto fire. Again, I need to be a little careful with that auto fire because I definitely hurt my guys more than I needed to. Looks like I'm a little more effective at closing the distance, which is good news there. Okay, so let's just recalibrate some of our attacks. There's a couple of... So basically there's 3 people who will be good at melee combat, which is a bit of a concern. I'm actually going to adjust it so that we can maximize the damage on some of these participants. Okay, so now we're going to get the sailor to do what they're good at. And I think we're due for ramming. All right. So we'll go for the weak first. Not you, please. And let's be careful about where we're pointing that gun. I'll leave it be for now till I have a better... Oh, actually... that was nice, but that didn't quite do what it needed to, so we'll run and finish off the captain. Where in God's name is that going? Okay, we're okay. Again, more delicious damage on the... Let's not auto-fire that, it'll kill my own guys. So my captain's getting a little close, so we'll take some of the heat off. Actually, we'll do that for both, and then we can start grape shotting these guys down. I don't quite know what I thought I would accomplish with that, but... Okay, now, I don't seem to be able to board the ship again. It's maybe because I'm not... I think I may need to ram him again. Before I do that, though, I'm just going to focus on making them miserable here. Alright, now that was unexpected. This is actually probably going to wind up being very costly damage-wise. So we'll set my grape shot up for auto attacks. We'll adjust the acid to accommodate. As long as they're not able to fire the cannon, I'm happy. As long as they're not able to fire the cannon, I'm happy. Now the real question is whether or not we're going to be able to damage them in time. I'm thinking survey says no, but let's see what happens. Yeah, that's definitely not going to work. So we'll move back. So yeah, my cowardly handling of the initial fight. Oh god, yeah, we're fine. That's kind of what cost me. Although it looks like we got a level for my my new gunner. So They won't live to regret this aggressive act. You collect what you can from the ship and continue onwards. Okay, we'll go on to the events, and then I actually don't want to take on this cultist ship yet, just because the timer doesn't seem to have done much. Your lookout has keen eyes, spotting a disturbance in the water a long way behind you. You look through your spyglass and confirm several water trails gaining on you. Something moving that can quickly can only be Halifron. So, full sail, we'll try to escape, or open fire with the mortar. Now, I don't see any advantage to doing a fight with the Halifron here, so in this case, we'll open fire with the mortar and see what that does. The Halifron are forced to zigzag and avoid the incoming mortar blasts. Although none hit the infernal creatures, it slows them down enough for you to make good your escape. All right, happy with that. I will go after the cult ship, but not now, basically. I want to try and lower the timer as a result. I can, however, collect supplies and whatnot. So let's get our assassination out of the way. The ship matches the description given to you by the assassin, and you move to engage it. Once they read your intention, they frantically signal, wishing to parley. What will you do? Listen to what they have to say. The captain, the target of your contract, explains that he is a simple businessman. He'll defend himself if he must, but he'd sooner negotiate. He follows up by asking if his wife sent you. This momentarily throws you, and he says that he has long suspected her hatred towards him would turn into something more dangerous. He is apparently worth more to her dead than alive. Like the executioners asked, you are just the instrument of death. You know nothing of who established the contract or whether your target is deserving of death. He is returning from a collection, so he is only carrying bulk goods of little individual worth. Should you leave him be, however, he will offer you a family heirloom, a captain's log. What will you do? You have no wish to anger the assassins, the Farhaven assassins attacked, or you don't have the facts. Is he deserving of death? The doubt is enough. Leave him be. Nope, we're attacking. I feel bad about it, but I knew I would have this kind of decision when I took the contract, so I'm sure this will not help my reputation. It is kind of neat that we're able to sort of catch everyone just by natural movement. Okay, so they do actually have a couple of Marines, which is a bit of a surprise, I'll admit. And we are ready to ram. All right. A little under-equipped for this boarding. Oh, that's bad. I also really should not be killing my own guys. Okay, so my captain's going to be taking some damage. Hopefully we can deal with it. I'm going to like run it right to the edge. And I may pay, but we will give him a face full of grape shot. And I think we are no longer able to board the ship. Yep. So we'll get ready for a second ram. We're definitely able to finish the job now. Let's not do the auto attack though. So it'd be better if I could avoid doing a double ram. What's done is done. The contract has been executed, as has your target. Hopefully that'll be the last time you have to deal with the Farhaven assassins. All right. So again, shouldn't feel good about it, but A dense flock of various seabirds can be seen dive bombing a patch of ocean in a feeding frenzy. It must be a huge shoal of fish. You approach as the birds scatter, but the fish are not so careful. Your crew haul up as many as they can with weighted nets before the shoal disperses. I'm still not 100% clear what the supplies do, but... These tense, foggy conditions prompted you to maintain battle readiness, and it's paid off. A ship appears from the mist and looks set to attack. So I'm reasonably happy with the combo that we've got here. I won't mess with it. One thing that has pleasantly surprised me is the improvement that I made to our mast. So it looks like we're basically able to gain on anyone. Like, if we just leave things be, I get in range for ramming before I'm charged to ram. That's great news, in my view. It basically means that we can get in as close as possible with sort of the smallest possible effort. Now we're going to take some damage boarding, but I'll live with that. So I think we're going to go straight for the captain here. All right, I should have... This is a tough call who I want to set out the fires. Let's get my mortar guy on it. This is going to be a little hairy because my weaker... Oh. Yeah, that's no good. We really put our foot in it with that grape shot blast. Okay, let's see if we can get them to chase around the captain. No, I cannot get them to chase around the captain. I'm thinking we should probably vamoose before it becomes too dangerous. Okay, so I'll get my marine back. Sailor can help with the fires, and Captain unfortunately can't get back on the boat, so let's see whether or not we can pull that off. Is there a good variety of weapons, ships, and crew? Yes to all, and those are spikes designed to sort of make it costly to board. I might actually lose my marine here because I'm not able to board again, but I have a couple of things I can do to improve. Too close to ram? Yeah, I think my marine's in trouble. Oh, but they can take out the navigator. No, they can't. Okay, so now we need to board to save him. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is shoot the other marine, and it's gonna be all hands to solve the problem. So the navigator is going to recover my marine. I think the rest will... Okay, who's hurt? My captain's hurt. Okay, things are just shy. If I make him chase me around the deck... Oh, damn it. I just lost my captain. Oh, and it looks like I lost Dalton as well. A fine victory. Your crew find great trunks in the hold of preserved fish and citrus fruits. Welcome provisions for recovering their strength. So in this case, I believe I need to, when I go to port, I'll be able to cure... Yeah, so they've got a negative trait as a result of this. I think if we go... I know there's a way to see the status of all my crew members. Yeah, here we go. So I've gained Broken Hand, pumps water 20% slower. That's not too bad, all told. Dalton has Weakling, incapacitated bar, reduces 20% faster. That one is a really big problem for a Marine. So we will want to go to port before too long. So yeah, there are spikes on ships. I don't believe it was that particular ship that had spikes. Except for the boarding spikes, yes. The variety, you've actually seen a bit of an example of it too. So I'd say it's comparable again in FTL. You can definitely have different ship configurations. It's not at the start of the game. So at the start of the game, you don't have things like picking from the Kestrel or any of the others. Your ship is your ship, so far as I can tell. But you can definitely, like, the strategy that I'm employing here is to focus pretty heavily on melee. That was one time where that really didn't turn out for me, but it's worked so far. But the next time I play, I can definitely imagine a couple of other strategies. And I know you've not paid for the game, but would you say it's worth $30? Well, this is the really hard one for MathMe, because I think that question is also it's relative to someone's individual circumstances. So one of the most eye-opening, I'm sorry this is going to be sort of a longer answer, but I think one of the more, this timer is going up while I'm okay. While I'm doing this, I'll at least take out the cultist ship to deal with the timer. One of my coworkers, you don't start, that's right. Yeah, that's the one major difference from FTL, in my opinion. Also the fact that you are pursued in real time. So if you don't pause while you're on that screen, it will actually affect it. So a small speck on the horizon and it's moving. You sense the foul energies of the cult long before you confirm their flying colors. It's headed away from you, so you doubt it has business tracking you down. So, okay. I was really hoping to make that go lower. So here's a couple of ways I can answer this. One of the most enlightening conversations I had was with my coworker, who got very interested in the Darkest Dungeon because I had showed it to them at work, and sort of sight unseen they bought it for $30. And for them, they thought it was odd that I was pushing them to try picking it up on sale. And because they're sort of like, well, I'd spend maybe a little bit less on a movie, and this thing is probably going to last me a lot longer. So in some senses, I think the value of games has been a little bit distorted for gamers. But here's a couple of other ways that I would answer this question. If I were to wait for traditional discounts, so a 15% discount, you're basically saving about $5. If you were to get a quarter off, you're saving about $7.50. And then, sure, when it goes half off, then it's sort of a meaningful savings. Even then, I'd say $15, like, would I have bought the game at $15? Yes. Would I have bought it at $30? Well, that's kind of a question in terms of the psychology of buying games. So there's a couple of different ways I can think about it. Like, would I be willing to deny myself the experience of playing this game? And, in response, here's the way I like to reframe this. If somebody said, okay, you now need to wait, let's say 3 months before you can play this game, and in exchange, I will buy you a beer, would I accept that offer? Would I pay $30 3 months from now and, and accept the beer in exchange? Probably not. And that's also because I'm not a huge beer guy. I'd say at $30, the meaningful discounts that you're waiting for are going to be ones that are a really long time ahead. And for my own part, I wasn't expecting to play this as quickly. And I actually found that I basically wanted to play it right away. So with that in mind, based on my own circumstances where it's not a huge purchase for me to spend $30 on this, I can see myself once I finish this campaign, I can see myself playing this on my own time quite a bit. But I can also sort of see that some people who already have FTL and maybe haven't unlocked all the ships, or I can see someone who hasn't completed Sunless Sea and wants to get back to it, I can sort of see how other priorities might be in the way. So I think that's as fair of an assessment as I can give. I think especially at this price point, the discounts that people will be waiting for are actually ones that really don't move the needle that much. I mean, it's not like 750 is not nothing, but it's also not the sort of thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm really going to wait on this one. If it was like, XCOM 2 at full price, sure, I might wait. I mean, I love XCOM. I got that thing the day it came out. But like, getting 25% off on XCOM 2 that might give you, a small indie game as well. But honestly, like, there's a lot in here. The fact that there's multiple scenarios actually is the thing that makes me inclined to say that it's worth it at the $30. But as always, it's an individual consumer thing. The only thing I can say is you'll probably have a good idea within 2 hours whether or not this thing is worth it. Obviously, if it's not, I apologize for the expense of, the time cost in terms of refunding it. But with my caveats in mind, for my own assessment of this, like had I had this experience and the developer says, hey, thanks for giving us the key, or thanks for, we gave you the key, thanks for covering it. If you'd like to keep playing it, we'd kind of like you to pay. I'd probably say yes. So. But yeah, sorry, I know that's a really long answer. I've never had a good answer for the should I buy it question. I know a lot of people want that question answered on streams, and I've never been able to do it well. Okay, this will be a fun one. A grim realization hits you. Something is coming for you. I'll trade you that beer for ice cream, though. Yeah, like this is just it. I don't actually drink that much beer. Let's do the event. Nope. The event won't happen. Oh God, it's coming! Ah! The Kraken will be on you in moments. You do not yet have the means to fight it. You must beat off and flee. All right. So this is the Kraken fight. This is actually kind of fun. And by fun, I mean terrifying. We can't shoot it. Okay, so the way that we handle this thing is by hacking at it with swords. Well, at the very least, I'll release myself from the Kraken. Oh, he brought friends. That's new. All right, I think we can handle this. Okay, we need to take the opportunity to heal in a minute. Oh, Jesus Christ, no, I need to get my navigator. The navigator's always got to be on the helm. So let's clear out this guy. We'll try and heal up some folks while we can. Oh, and we're ready to run. Hopefully... Yep, it's coming. Are we going to get it on time? No! We probably shouldn't cluster up like this. Alright, so he's creating some dilemmas for me. Hopefully this allows us to properly run now. Yep, we got out of it. So obviously some damage to the hull, but nothing nothing too catastrophic. You've wounded the creature and escaped. Somehow you feel in your bones that the Kraken will need time to recuperate before it resumes the hunt. You should not dally. You're struggling to differentiate between my crew and the other enemies. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I've actually suffered from that as well. Generally, I think it's a color scheme. So green for my guys, red for the bad guys. I'm going to get a couple things done now. So one, we'll get a repair in. Also, let's go to the log. All right, so I do want to head north next. I'm going to keep this in mind because I'm going to try some piracy. This is, I believe, I think this is equivalent of a port. So we'll leave that be. What stories could the crew of the ship you now float above tell of their ships and their tragic demise? But more importantly, what valuables did they leave behind? Do you wish to delve into the deep to find out? Prepare the diving bell. Your crew returns bearing near perfectly preserved supplies, sealed in wax sheets and small barrels. The ship can't have been down there long. Perfect timing. Okay. Do I want to be a scumbag? Not quite yet. So the challenge here is when I commit an act of piracy, it's going to be really hard to get out of the level. The Archduke was obsessed with leaving a legacy by building a huge wall between islands that would completely encircle landfall. It would prove an impenetrable barrier, with gates along its perimeter to control the shipping in and out of the capital. Such was the Empire's ambition in those opulent times that the idea was actually entertained. Not surprisingly, the obscene costs swiftly emptied the region's coffers, and the subsequent tax hikes prompted riots bordering on open revolt. A terrible drought the following summer ended any hopes of finishing the project. What was built proved a formidable defense, though incomplete, it could simply be circumnavigated. It swiftly became known as Joseph's Debt, much to the chagrin of the project's architect, the Archduke. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm hoping that the timer will be favorable. So the nice thing is that I have a really narrow path for getting around all these defenses. So I'm going to stop by the port first. Actually, this particular ship is rumored to have a nice racket going, offering protection to local merchants for a price. Everyone knows that those unwilling to pay, or unable, happen to swiftly lose anything worth protecting, occasionally including their lives. Will you put an end to this? A raided trade route will increase prices in the local port. Defeating the raiding ship will return prices to normal. Oh, okay. I was hoping to raid it myself, but yes, we will end this vile extortion, and I will feel good about myself. So now we get to talk a little bit about the difference between the crew. So the most obvious is the green versus red, but of course the challenge with that is when my health gets low, everybody starts looking red, and that's the challenge I run into. And I actually don't have a really good answer for how to fix that. Let's make that an auto fire. So I'm actually going to use this combat as an effort to see if I can learn any heuristics to make that easier. Okay, so they've got mostly gunners. It's because they're just down to a captain. Oh, this probably gets wasted. Neat. So I'm going to have to get my own captain to... And let's give him something to think about here. So I'm ready to ram. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay. So we'll let the grape shot fire first. We'll now turn those off of auto fire. And we'll bring in most but not all. Oh! Looks like they got away right away. Okay, so we'll have to move back. That's unfortunate, but we'll make do. Yeah, that did not leave me a lot of room. Alright, that sucks, because these guys are going to be occupied now. I think we'll just move everyone in. Actually, I'll bring the... Yeah, we're bringing everyone, including the sailor. This will be a little risky, but... let's focus on the Marine. So yeah, it's basically the center colors that we focus on. And it looks like the best strategy really is to just focus down guys one at a time. Because like, notice none of my guys have gotten to red health yet. So I think I'm going to employ that in the future. So we're obviously lower on health. I think that was because I needed to do 2 rams, and clearly they had spikes on the edge. But Pirate's Life for them was not such a wise choice after all. But that worked out. Now I know there's a way for me to raid. Pressing this button when you're on a trade route means you will raid it. Raiding trade routes will provide ill-gotten gains, but be warned, engaging in piracy like this will increase your wanted level. That's life. Okay, visit the docks where you can repair and upgrade your ship, sure. This will cost a little bit more than usual, so I may not want to do this, but let's just see what I can get away with. So round shot, we already have those at the moment. Catapult can be an exceptionally powerful weapon, but only when fired from the furthest distance. This is the opposite of what I want. So hull cracker, similar idea. I want to be damaging crew more than anything. And a tackler, a long-range, swivel gun designed to target and stun individual crew. Ooh. Knocks individual crew to the floor, but doesn't cause any damage. Has a chance of knocking crew overboard. Infinite range, reload speed, normal. Can you commandeer ships? So far as I can tell, no. Commandeering a ship basically does what you've seen so far, which is it gives me a bonus towards the wealth that I extract from it, let's say. The tackler is a tempting one. Can I put this in store? I can. Oh, but it's 95. Okay, I'm going to stick with the grape shot. There's an argument here. So the probability you can knock someone overboard is a really attractive feature of this gun. The fact you can stun them is also a really attractive feature, but one that I'm a little more hesitant about. Because in the end, like, you know, the stun needs to be particularly well timed. So it's really the price that's turning me off of this one more than anything. Water pumps, hand-operated pumps allow crew to drain water from the ship. We've already got those. Advanced Crow's Nest provides maximum visibility on enemy ship and crew in combat, reveals more fog of war in exploration mode. That's a very tempting one. So for 160, I can get a lifeboat and an Advanced Crow's Nest. I'm not really getting discounts here, but these are pretty good upgrades. So let's sell our old Crow's Nest. Advanced it is, and I will go for a lifeboat. And while we're at it, you know, we might as well do the repairs. It's 36, so I'm a little poor, but, well, I mean, 290 isn't exactly poor, but I'm still reasonably happy with those choices. The only other thing I can think of would be to put a little bit more into my my individual cannons, but that would be a total of 60 between the two. I don't quite think it's worth it because I can maneuver reasonably quickly. All right, back to sea. Let's start raiding again. Almighty money. Almighty money. I want to be a little careful that this doesn't go too high. All right. So like I said, the plan is to be really careful. All right, they managed to get a quick hit on me. So part of this is just saying that I consider notoriety to be a resource that I can exploit. So the idea here is going to be that my virtuous actions in other areas will allow me. So essentially what I want is I want just a little notoriety in each of the regions I go into. This is obviously going to make navigation a little difficult for me. I will admit, like, the rate at which your notoriety goes up is probably more than I think it's worth. Oh, there's a lighthouse. I think I'm going to go straight for that. Here we go. You liberated this person from a slave ship. They're indebted to you. Once the friendly ship has pulled alongside, the captain moves to an object on deck covered with a sheet. He removes it with a theatrical flourish and says, "I saw this and thought of you." Well, he certainly has the measure of you. It's not your name day, but it's a perfect present. Weapon gained. A timed bomb mortar launches a deadly timed bomb that can be defused by enemy crew. Oh yeah, we ran into that. So high hull and section damage, moderate crew damage, large area of effect, can be defused by enemy crew. That's actually a somewhat tempting one. Balance issue in your opinion? In terms of like the rewards for looting, or in general about the game, like compared to like the strategies. I will admit, like my boarding strategy seems to be somewhat strong, but it might just be because I'm in the early stages of the game and that I'll be running into people who want to board me and I'll find how inadequate my crew is. Or are you thinking specifically about the returns to piracy? Also, I should keep in mind that some of these hostile areas may not be hostile because of the sorry, words. Because of my notoriety, but because they're pirate buildings. Notoriety. Difficult to tell. I've been playing a pretty virtuous captain so far, so I'm interested in seeing how far down it goes. I mean, I did get a reasonable amount for, like, I guess the biggest thing is that it's a little bit like the purchase recommendation. If I frame that in terms of that weapon that I wanted that was 95, I'm still at the 1 skull of notoriety, and I think I wound up with like 60 wealth. So that's over halfway to a weapon that I really want for something that hasn't exactly caused me all that much grief. So it's I don't know. We'll see. I haven't experienced enough of the notoriety mechanic yet to know if there's a balance issue with it. Hey, GNR/, how you doing? Okay, a small fishing vessel is hauling up lobster pots, squirming with crustaceans. Some of the crabs look huge, with shells as wide as a man's arm. The fishermen would gladly make a quick trade here without the hassle of hauling it and paying the harbor tax. I probably need more money than I need supplies, but again, I'm not 100% sure what supplies will be needed for, so it doesn't hurt to take advantage of the good deals. You can see smoke rising from the mass graves where the port are burning corpses of the infected. The wind turns and the smoke passes over your ship. Within moments, the fumes are debilitating and make everyone feel extremely nauseated. While you struggle to continue, a ship comes around the headland and moves close. The captain appears quite insane, yelling how everyone is a carrier and that he is the cleansing flame. You can see from his own crew that they are suffering the same ill effects as you. The smoke from the plague pits has temporarily infected both crew. For the duration of the battle, all crew members' health is capped. Well then. They're not too... Basically, they're equivalent to me in terms of combat capability, so I suppose that is virtue of a kind. They do have spikes, so there's going to be some damage that I take as I ram this thing. You'll notice I'm doing more hull damage here. That's just so I can take advantage of the fact that they're clustered. And basically everything's going to be on auto fire. Alright, looks like everybody's already run into the medic. Oh, Jesus Christ, there's going to be... oh, this is going to be gross. So I'm going to take damage just by boarding this thing. Oh, and we've got a fire, so let's put that out. You know what? The sailor should be doing that. Alright, this is going to suck, but... There we go. Okay, let's disable most of these. I wonder if I can get... Yeah, I can get all three. Did they get away? they did. All right. We'll go back. We'll wait for ramming. Should probably start slamming them with my... sorry, I should probably stop slamming them with the cannons, but we'll at least poison them in the... Okay, here we go. Okay, that's a little more meaningful. So, let's take the Marine and the Captain to focus on their Captain. I will bring my... Yeah, we'll bring the whole gang. Okay, now we'll disable the auto fire. Holy crap. Yeah, my sailor's definitely getting the worst of that. Let's get him to the back of the ship. Okay, let's take all my guys. I want to focus down their Marine if I can. And we'll get my 2 non-combatants. We'll take them off the ship. Okay, among the folks who are left... so this is the trick. The fact that they're on low health, that's what's making it hard to differentiate between the two. So here, we're just going to run out. Fortunately, I've got Grape Shot to get them with. Unfortunately, all that effort I made to... all that effort that I made to sort of preserve my preserve the ship is wasted because I'm gonna have to ram it, and there's no way this thing's gonna save another survive another set of broadsides. So, or not a broadside, another ram. So in this case, we'll just accept what we need to do and take the smaller return. So basically, it's the fact that my guys had a health cap that that made this harder. We were able to take out the captain and the Marine, but it wasn't quite enough. You cannot stand to be around the smoke from the island any longer. No potential loot is worth feeling this ill. Okay, so we got nothing for it. Thankfully, you are now clear of the fumes from the plague pits, and your health is recovered. All right, let's go. Okay, so that was a pirate fortress, it turns out. So we'll collect some goodies. A dense flock of various seabirds can be seen dive bombing a patch of ocean in a feeding frenzy. It must be a huge shoal of fish. You approach and the birds scatter, but the fish are not so careful. Your crew haul up as many as they can with weighted nets before the shoal disperses. Again, I'd like to get to the lighthouse, but clearly I don't want to turn up the opportunity to get some goodies. Okay, diving bell and ship. Hey! I'm going to guess for MathMe, I'm thinking that was probably you buying that game. Apologies if I made the assumption, but I'm glad that somebody decided to support the developer. A large hole has been smashed into the hull of the ship you are watching. It looks like it has run aground on some jagged rocks and appears to be deserted. As long as we tread carefully, it should be a standard salvage job, or let that be a lesson to us. Navigate very carefully in these waters, lest we end up a similar warning to others. Nope, salvage job. Oh, hello. The crew make as thorough of a search as they dare and return carrying supplies, cargo, and a badly hurt companion. Apparently, he fell through some rotten planks into the murky waters below and did not reemerge until his colleagues fished him out. Oh, so this is a new guy. So I'm curious what that red... Badly hurt will not be able to participate in combat until they have been revived in an apothecary in port. I can work with that. Let's use the diving bell. And now we've seen we have the whole map available, so. All right, so this was a pirate fort. I might want to work on that right away. So targets I want to prioritize. This one because my health is up. This one because, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then I'm a little curious about the exclamation point. We'll figure that out. It is you. You like this kind of game. I'm really glad to hear. I mean, again, the Humble link is something that people asked for, and certainly it does help me cover the internet costs and such. And there is always that interest in the sense of having been given the game. But it really does mean a lot, even if I didn't have the affiliate links. It actually does mean a lot that people do wind up picking games on the basis of the streams, because it is a nice perk that I get to try stuff I normally wouldn't have checked out. But it is also something I'm a little conscious of, that, you know, I at least want to have games get a chance. And one of the more rewarding parts about this is when somebody I've had a couple of people come back and say, it's like, hey, I tried that thing that I picked up off of your stream. It's like, and I love it. And those are always the most rewarding moments, because obviously there's a lot of games, and clearly streaming is part of the mechanism through which people can discover their new favorite game. Out of curiosity, I think you are a streamer yourself for MathMe. Are you thinking of doing this on your own channel? Because I'm sure there's a few people here who would like to watch your take on it. The Empire flagship looks like it's been wrecked for an age. Subtle shifting of sandbanks and the tide exposing it to the world once more. It's encrusted in seaweed and makes a thriving home to various denizens of the deep. Knowing how particular the Empire was about protocol, the valuable captain's log is surely intact. Will you ask a crewman to take the diving bell to find out? Yes. All right, so I lost someone. Well, didn't lose someone, but I need to go to the apothecary. Once the diving bell reached the correct depth, the crew ventured out, only to be confronted by a school of sharks. Knowing how valuable the prize was, and that unless the sharks smelled blood, they may be harmless, the crew took the risk, successfully retrieving the chest containing the captain's log. However, one careless crewman scratched his hand on a jagged barnacle, whetting the shark's appetite. One of the beasts took an exploratory bite of the man's leg, and as they returned to the ship, but they were hauled aboard before a more permanent tragedy occurred. Okay, so I'm not really ready for combat now. But let's see what we're up against. You're on a course to pass within the range of another vessel. As the distance closes, they raise flags indicating that they surrender. They must have assumed that you were out to do them harm. You are, after all, outfitted for war. Message them back with your intention. You are no pirate, so this is partly just to help my reputation. Oh, okay, fair enough. Didn't help my reputation, but I didn't go into battle. You do stream? Not sure you'd call yourself a streamer. You will certainly cast it. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I'll just take a minute here. I'm sure people can click your name, but for those of you, I hope I got that right. I also hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yeah, for those of you who want to see this this magical moment when they cover it, you can click that link there, give them a follow. Obviously, unless you know exactly the hour that you're going to be streaming, I figure that's probably the best way to check out your stuff. And yeah. Incidentally, for those of you who are fans of Abandoned Ship, if you haven't done it already, you can follow the game itself, and it will tell you when people are streaming the game. But that's not quite as fun as following people who do stream the game. So. Before you've docked, the harbor master calls out to you. He warns that the port has had an outbreak of the pox. Do you still wish to moor here? I'm sure the men will be careful not to go anywhere near anyone who looks ill. Tie up the ship on the nearest berth. A large man flanked by 2 guards walks down the jetty to your ship. You are greeted by the man, who turns out to be a merchant. He says that there is money to be made if you can help the port in any way, particularly with the sale of supplies. We will trade supplies for money. I won't donate them, but... You managed to get a good price for the supplies. Now that your business is concluded, you can make your way into port. So let's start with the apothecary, because clearly we need to revive a couple people. And while we're at it, so it's fairly expensive to remove these negative traits, but it's worth it. So first up, Dalton. Also Jack Boone. You know what? This will leave me poor, but... I'm not paying my bounty. Back to the docks. Again, I'm really looking for stuff that can damage crew. And with the present broadsides, I think that's as good as I can hope for. The timer bomb is a really interesting one because it does occupy rival crew members, and so that might allow me to do some special damage. But I can also see that thing backfiring in the sense that my combatants are next to the thing when it blows up. So I decided against it. I also don't think I'm going to be able to afford any of this section upgrades. So, all right, let's start picking some fights. I think I'm going to go after the fort first because those are always the toughest. But not before picking up some goodies. Oh, come on. Wait, really? I can't attack this thing? That doesn't seem right. Certainly doing a number on me. Huh. Alright. That's the first... I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's the first... it's the first little bit of weirdness I've seen in that regard. Well, in this case, if I can't take on the main pirate, there doesn't really seem to be any reason to do any of these activities. So let's go pick up some repairs. And I will do... Yeah, I'll just do this little cluster of events and call it a day. Pretty sure, yeah, if we go to the right, we get our devil whatchamacallit. A ship moves within range, and before you know it, they've opened fire. A lucky shot destroys the sickbay. You'll need to perform some mid-battle repairs before it'll be usable again. Okay, that's one I actually do want to take the time on. So fortunately, though, my... oh, you know what the funny thing is? The crew member that I got... So there's only space for a certain number of crew members. I might actually want to toss out Jake Boone in favor of someone a little more equipped for a little more equipped for like ship repair and stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, I spent all that money healing a guy who I can't actually bring into the battle because I've already got a crowded deck. But that's fine. Again, I'm sending the sailor to repair the sick bay because it's almost certainly going to be something that I need during the battle. Fortunately, it does look like it's a relatively weak enemy, so we should be slightly better. I think they have one of those harpoon... Oh, interesting. So it looks like they are able to... actually get some distance on me, so we'll smack their... smack their mast a little bit. We're apparently still... Okay, we can't do the maneuver because they took the navigator down. Fair enough. Try to realign this so I can maximize the damage. I'm going to get this guy healing up because I'm going to bring this row on the boarding team. All right. In we go. Boom. Okay. So we're going to employ the same strategy we usually do, which is to... what in God's name are you all doing? Okay, let's deselect these guys. I was trying to remove the auto fire on the grape shot. So I think we took a lot of unnecessary damage jumping on and off. Yeah, we're going to do the attack the weakest strategy. Okay, so we're focusing this guy next because the gunner is in danger, and then now we'll take down their medic. Cool. And as usual, you know, minimizing damage. It's almost like Darkest Dungeon in this sense. Minimize damage to the ship because people get repaired automatically in between fights. You and the ship strip the enemy vessel bare. So to answer your question for MathMe, this is essentially how they represent commandeering vessels. You just get a larger reward for taking the thing intact than you do for destroying it. So you and the crew strip the enemy vessel bare. Melancholic, you realize you've created a ghost ship. You say a silent thank you and hurriedly depart back to your own. All right. Pirate ship spotted. It matches the description of the rogue ship that has been troubling the local area. Defeating the pirate will mean the local port will give you a discount. Ah, well, I should have thought of that beforehand. May help my reputation, though, so we'll still go for it. Word is spread of a particularly troublesome pirate in the area. Defeating him would make you a hero in these parts, and the local port dwellers would no doubt reward you with special prices. Oh, hang on. I don't have the extra sailor after all. Is it snowing? Does the weather affect crew performance? That's a really good question, actually. I didn't notice. There are definitely environmental effects. I had a couple of battles in a storm, which was really exciting to watch, and then I realized has a lot of negative effects. So, all right, we'll attack. So yeah, it's definitely snowing. I don't think it indicates what the... I don't believe it states any status effects. I think they're taken for granted. But there's definitely status effects in the game as far as the the weather and conditions are concerned. Okay, they do have a captain and a marine, so this is effectively a balanced fight. But of course, we more or less know the strategy we want to employ at this point. It looks like they want to get in as close as much as I do. So we'll wait till the maneuver bar is charged, and then we'll go full strength on it. What? I wasn't expecting that. Okay, we're gonna have to realign the boarding crew, it looks like. I think in this case I'm gonna make it all hands. My captain's already taken quite a bit of damage. At this point, I think we'll get everybody to jump back on the ship. It means we're gonna have to do another ram, but I think I can live with that. In the meantime, Sailor's got to put out the fires. Okay, we are in much better shape to finish this off. So again, the Sailor's got to deal with the fires. That would be nice if I had a few more people I could afford to lose, but so what I'm trying to do here is just find. So in this case, my navigator is at the lowest health. So in this case, we're going to attack the Sailor now. And then now we'll go after the other Sailor because he's damaging someone with a little bit more meat. And I've been ignoring the fire on the other side of the boat. Alright, having taken the ship intact, you're able to collect several trophies that you use as evidence of your glorious victory. Having captured the enemy ship will grant you a greater discount at the local port. Wanted level decreased, 42 supplies, 42 wealth, 18 supplies. Let's find out what that's actually called. Gold. So a little bit of ship damage, but nothing nothing I can't handle. So given the fact that there's a cult event that's going to happen really soon, I think we're just going to go for these two events and then go immediately to the right. The forts are still going to wind up attacking me because I have a little wanted level, but not a catastrophic amount. A headache warns you that something is coming, and the trails that surface the water confirm your suspicions. Halifron incoming. So I don't think there's any way of escaping them. I could just go to the next menu, but in this case, I'll bring him. I'll take him on. You were not able to escape this time. You'll have to fight them off. All right, that's quite a few of them actually. But we'll employ the same. We'll employ the same strategy. We'll basically just beat the crap out of them one by one. Okay, Jake Boone's definitely taken a lot of damage. Okay, gotta be careful about the acid. I definitely don't want my gunner getting hurt, so... Alright, that's exactly what I want them to do. So, we'll take the trio here, and then my captain can go one-on-one against the Halifron. I'm pretty sure he can handle himself. Can you fight more than one ship at a time? Oh, that's right. I actually haven't used the LRT yet for Mathme. But I had that in Vancouver, and I miss it very much. The way that they handle fighting more than one ship at a time... at least the way I've played it, you take them on sequentially, but I am going to allow for the possibility that you might take on more than one ship because there are two sides to the vessel, as you can see. You can definitely flip the ship around. So I have not experienced it, but it seems like that may be a possibility. Or it could just mean that the side of the ship is something that that gets determined before the fight. So I don't have a direct answer for that, but it seems like that's a possibility. When the Halifron have you in their sights, there's little that can be done to fight them off. You have managed to do that on this day, but I don't think your morale can go above 100. I guess that's the story it's telling me. All right, you approach a strangely slow-moving ship with only a few visible crew. Suspicious. Looking more closely, you see what looks like a human bone in the corner of the deck and other signs of cannibalism. So they may have taken the only option left to them. If we help them now, we may save lives and souls, or if they've turned to cannibalism, they deserve to die. For the safety of all, we'll bombard them from afar. Nope, we'll give them the food. You search the ship, but aside from the grisly remains of the crew, find no other survivors. So why did I lose the food? And a piece of wreckage has a man slumped over it, clinging on. He doesn't respond to hails, but the crew are still hopeful. After all, he could be unconscious for his ordeal. As the ship nears, the wake dislodges his death grip, and he floats away from the debris. It is at this point you realize his lower half is missing, having been eaten by some predator. Morale falls. Okay, the captain's log that I got here is a pretty precious... yeah, I was going to say, this is getting more Sunless Sea by the minute. So the captain's log that I got here is a pretty precious resource. You can go to port, and it essentially allows you to save your progress. Well, actually, it says it in the tooltip here. A number of captain's logs use these at Port Explorers Guild to create a manual save of your progress that you will return to if you die. And this is the big trade-off, right? If you use them right away, then that just means there's going to be more... that just means that there's going to be more progress for you to make up if you do die. But of course, if you wait too late, then you die and you have this other vast gulf of content that you need to go through. So I have not yet died in the game, so I don't quite know what the best strategy is for captain's logs. But we are close to making some story progress on taking out the Kraken, so maybe the next region? I don't know. Also, you did correctly identify snow, so having gone through the environment, we can see what the biome is. Subpolar, water calm, 1 port, 4 gates, faction pirates. Stormy seas right here. Green pool, arid, weather lightning, water rough. Rough water is actually kind of fun because you get more of the brace for impact events. But let's see what awaits us in Unexplored. Oh, we're not going through there yet. You sense scornful amusement from the presence within you. It knows that you want to fight back, that you think you can, yet you detect a curiosity. It's never encountered this feeling of resistance before. Rumors paint the ports of Devil Rock as having a hands-off approach to law enforcement. An eye for an eye seems to be the custom here. As you approach the area, you see several large plumes of smoke a short ways inland. Whatever authorities the port has clearly have their hands full, and they shouldn't give you much trouble. I mean, not that my wanted level's all that high, but we'll follow the trusty arrow. I don't think there's a lighthouse anywhere nearby. Oh, there's Devil Rock. Man, I love the maps in this game. This is one of the reasons why I say, like, you know, paying full freight is a decent idea, because it really is a feast for the eyes. I'm gonna wait a little while before visiting Devil Rock. It's possible, so we're not actually being chased by anything right now. Hints of a wrecked ship can be seen through the water. This is the sort of task the diving bell was made for, although that doesn't make the salvage job any less risky. Will you explore the wreckage? Yes. God damn it, Dalton. A chest lying fractionally out of reach proved too tantalizing a prospect to ignore. At the limit of their lung capacity, they couldn't quite manage it and very nearly drowned in the process. Despite being rescued, they were badly hurt. Yes, a very, very Lovecraftian. From the opening event. I don't know if that's true for all of the stories, but this one definitely has very, very heavy Lovecraftian themes. It's worth it. Frees up the resources to heal my guy. I really like, you know, the effect of filling in the fabric map. It's like, it's probably, as far as like the gameplay thing, it's probably the most straightforward, but there's just something really fun about painting this map based on the effect. Oh yeah, I mean the beginning was like last week, so I'm not going to test anyone. But yeah, it's definitely it's so the. I mean, you'll experience it yourself, but like your initial crew actually comes from you saving people from the cult. So the crew that I picked, I should have actually said this. While you don't customize the ship that you run away with, you do customize the crew, which of course is going to, like, in that sense, there is a little bit more of an analogy to FTL than I let on, because, you know, the crew that I've got very much reflects an early intention to try boarding and finishing the combat that way, and that's just because that's a strategy I found reasonably effective in FTL. Like, there isn't a open all the airlocks and fight in the med bay strategy in this game, but certainly, you know, the idea of, I mean, let's just face it, I really wanted to do swashbuckling in this game. So the customization, even though it maybe doesn't apply to the ship, which is basically one that you just get during your escape, you do still have opportunities for customization in terms of the things that you want to prioritize as far as a crew is concerned. And obviously, in my case, I'm a little heavy on navigators, but I just don't have the heart to get rid of Jake Boone. So your crew look at the port expectantly. They're already planning on where they will spend their money during shore leave. Let's start with the apothecary, because I do kind of need to get Dalton back to... So we'll start with a revival, and I hate that I have to spend 75 to remove the negative. Well, what is it? Broken collarbone? Yeah, no, my Marine actually does need to be operative. Please don't ever do that again. Um, by the way, you can turn on or turn off the so backer, if you sign up for the news. Oh yeah, this is one I should mention. I need to mention this more often. If you sign up for the newsletter in this game, you can actually make a name that can be added to the game. You can disable it in case you don't want like YOLO Swag as your first mate or whatever. But I'm pretty sure Sci-Fi Myth is one of the newsletter options. I really like this idea because obviously, developers need and deserve money. Like, if you like their games, it's gonna, people buying the games are gonna be the way we get more of them. But clearly, we can't buy every single game we're interested in. We don't have the time to play all of them, and sometimes being able to get attention is half the battle. And so I think little things like this, Paradox does a wonderful job of this too, like being able to get special ringtones or wallpapers or that, or even like special things being unlocked in the game as a result of signing up for the newsletter ahead of time. I think that's a really crafty marketing campaign. And so it's really cool to see indies like this take advantage of that. But that's a good question if you can rename crew. I suspect that might defeat the purpose of the generated names, but that's a good question. I think it even said in the tutorial at some point. I don't think there's anything else for me to do here. I could theoretically save the game. It also looks like there's no... Yeah, we'll collect the money. We kind of need it. I'll return to port for now. So let's explore the town. I'll see if I can find it in the tutorial logs here for MathMe. I don't normally rename crew, but this could just be that I wasn't paying attention. So let's explore the town. The port town is ramshackle and sparse, many houses seeming to lie empty. You manage to find a sorry-looking trading shack. Once inside, you remark to the proprietor on how desolate the port feels. The haggard trader mutters something about a recent monsoon keeping the local magistrate busy, but doesn't elaborate, despite the confusion writ large on your face. You begin explaining why you are here, and he interrupts gruffly, directing you to someone who apparently will be more inclined to listen. As you approach your supposed destination, a pair of filthy street urchins lob a chunk of dull stone into a puddle next to you. The water steams for a split second before exploding, soaking your breeches. The children flee, shrieking with laughter, and you can't help but be impressed by their small demonstration. You arrive at a hut that stands apart from the others, with strange symbols painted over the door. This is the place. The door is yanked open by an older man, with a beard oiled into multiple points at inconsistent angles. His face is a mess of many small scars, and one of his eyes is glass, painted with a crude iris. You've seen some salty sea dogs in your time, but this guy takes the biscuit. He clearly isn't one for formalities, so you come right out with it. You're in the business of hunting exotic sea fauna and need a tactical edge. You attempt to flatter him by explaining that Devil's Rock's recent infamy and his reputation led you here. He sets off on accounts of his glory days spent fishing and exploring using Devil Rock. They would seal nuggets of dark rock in oiled spherical containers packed with sand. That it was just a matter of finding a shoal and dropping it overboard, where, once deep enough, the pressure would force water in and set off the reaction. He mimes a huge vertical torrent of water. We considered it good luck, he winks, if a fish chunk landed on your head. He made a quick calculation about how much Devil Rock would be needed to surface something as big as the Kraken, and would resolve it would take out half of your ship at the same time. Hardly ideal. Did you ever experiment with launch methods, like firing it from a mortar? The man looks blankly at you for a second before a large smile creases his gnarled features. I like your style, he proclaims. But no, we never needed to. He rummages around in his pockets and produces a small pebble. He places it on a platter atop a large chest, grabs a nearby candle, and passes the flame slowly back and forth over the stone. Instinctively, you flinch and make to cover your eyes, but he just grins again. Friction or heat do nothing, only water. We'll need to do some tests, but thank you. The man's eye has lit up. He is desperate to be a part of this experiment and volunteers some supplies. From the good old days. His only request is that he can accompany you for the test. You agree, but you have a lot of explaining to the crew to do before they're happy with you bringing a soluble high explosive on board. Let's find a secluded spot for our little test. All right, test out Devil Rock ammunition. Devil Rock is extremely volatile. You will need to test it. Sorry, let's find that log again. Okay, first of all, crew met. You can change. So we've got Dean, Tony, Hannah, Dalton, Jake Boone, Grayson, and if you want, you can rename the crew members. And we don't have any past crew. All right. Depth charge test. Man the mortar. When it is ready to fire, aim it at an area of sea to launch the Devil Rock round. Your guest dances a little jig, ecstatic at the successful test. This just might work. Back to port to collect more Devil Rock supplies. En route, your guest sidles up to you. The amount of Devil Rock you plan to fire. You're not just a few hauls or a trophy, are you? You hesitate, but figure the knowledge won't hurt him, even if he believes you. No, we hunt a kraken, and it hunts us. After a pregnant pause, he replies, I lived through many seasons, most of them spent at sea. I have seen things that men would mock me to hear tell. Another lengthy pause. I, old Balin, believe you. And were I known as young Balin, I'd join you to see for myself. As you adjust the wheel, your sleeve rides up, revealing the edge of your cult tattoos. It does a good job of pretending not to notice, and you sail the rest of the way into port in silence. You mull over your next steps. You need a place to make a stand, as it were. Back in port, you make preparations for your departure. Balin is ebullient and helpful, carefully measuring and packing out enough Devil Rock to take care of a dozen kraken. He shows you a sphere container wrapped in an extra layer of oily bandage. This will help keep it safe in bad weather, but should slip off easily underwater. Be no fun if the damn things went off in your hands or hold, would it? He cackles. You have little time left until your crew have readied themselves. How do you spend it? So we can oversee activity upon the ship or head back. We'll explore the port. And in this case, I think, I can't look at the log. I will save the game. And as far as upgrades, flaming round shot cannon can cause fires to start. Low damage on hull and sections, low damage to crew, moderate chance of causing fires. I mean, that is one that will occupy that would occupy the people on the deck. I'm not quite convinced it's what I need, though. Shipwright, again, we're not in any state to buy those. I have a ridiculous amount of supplies, though. So I mean, it's 5 for 10. So, you know what? We'll go down to 500. I'm still probably not going to buy anything, but yeah, I think I'm just going to keep the money. You and your crew, your crew, and a ship heavy with Devil Rock are finally ready to depart. Balin is about to disembark as you stop him to ask a final favor. We need somewhere to corner the Kraken if we want these things to hit. Head to Pullman's Cove, Balin replies, tapping his grizzled nose with his finger. Here, I'll mark it on your chart. It's a horseshoe bay with some deadly undercurrents. Many a whale and a ship have run afoul of that little place. If you don't panic, you can ride a swell back out. Ride a swell back out, but at the right tide, not even a Kraken would be able to escape. Thank Balin for all his help. He nods solemnly as you do. I know this is something to do with that damned cult. You're clearly connected somehow, but I hardly think you're on the same side. That's your business. All I know is they're trouble, and they smell weird. strike them in their little pet a blow, and make damn sure you come back and tell me how it all went. All right, so we need to unlock... we need to unlock our gate. I'm kind of curious. I don't think so the thing that's kind of funny here is that I don't think the Kraken's the end of it. Like, we've got this big section here, but there's like the Cold Sea, Land Ends, Forsaken Seas. Like, there's so much stuff around the edges here that I suspect the Kraken is like the first part of the journey. That was actually a really well written little side bit for MathMe. Now, I will let you know I'm kind of at the end of the streaming time, so this will be the last map. But I'm gonna finish the map. So, if anybody has any final questions or comments, or if they want to know more about the game, now is the time to speak up. And of course, I'll get my little advertisement out. If you are considering picking up this game, and again, there isn't a major regional price difference, do consider picking it up through the Humble link. I do get a small portion of the purchase. I don't believe there's a price difference between Steam and Humble, but obviously it is worth doing your own homework. Also, obviously, for those of you who are Humble users, if you subscribe to the Humble Monthly, there's usually a discount that comes with that as well. That link will also work for other games, so if Abandoned Ship wasn't your cup of tea, but you want to pick up one of the bundles or any of the other things, if you pick up a bundle, you can decide how much goes towards me, including 0. And of course, it is worth mentioning that the developer did give me a copy of the game to streams, and I've been having a great time with it. So if it seems like your kind of thing, I do encourage you to pick it up. But of course, everybody has their own financial situations as well as their own back catalogs. So I don't want to push it, but it is something that will help both creators of content, though I would argue that the game developers are the better creators on this one. So there is no difference in price for this game. Thank you for mentioning that. Again, I am very cautious in saying that sort of stuff, because the last thing I want to do is be careless in saying there isn't a price difference and then somebody runs through. I figure even if my intentions are good on that one, it's the sort of thing that can immediately turn a really happy moment into a really negative one. And, part of that would rightly be directed towards me, but I have to feel that would probably affect the game too. So clearly I encourage people to do their own work, lest I mislead someone. So, an unusual object is spotted floating off the port bow. Looking more close, you see a wooden chest. You haul it up, and the crew gather round expectantly. Bees! Oh, never mind. A few trinkets. Nothing of great value, but worth selling at a port. You remember being told of the locals from Devil Rock telling you how they used a native strange metal that reacts explosively with water for fishing, and you're about to see it firsthand. Seagulls flying behind a small vessel catch your eye. Through your spyglass, you see the fishermen lobbing cloth-wrapped lumps into the sea. The packages splash into the water. A few breaths pass, and the water rises in a mass of foam and bubbles. The fishermen then twirl with their nets, easily scooping up the catch. It is an interesting approach, but you wonder how many boats have been inadvertently sunk by the technique. I kind of like that some of these are just flavor. Oh wow, we went right through that rock. A cry goes up. A ship has been seen in the distance. Through your spyglass, you can tell it's already changed course to head straight for you. Its intention is clearly hostile. There's still time to avoid them entirely if you wish. Nope, let them come, we'll be ready. Okay, as usual, we will dump acid on them. We will send as much grape shot their way as we can. And the rest we're going to focus on the mast. Ram it. All right. That worked rather well. So we'll disable all the automatic ones. Looks like... Wait, was that my shot that did that? That's a shame if it did. So yeah, they're actually in fairly rough shape. Oh, let's get the navigator back. Okay, let's try and get a bunch of people to... Oh, I got a fire on the ship. Fortunately, I don't have anyone to... Well, you know what? Gunner can get rid of it. Okay, so same strategy as before. We've got... So 2 guys are down to yellow. It is tempting... Yeah, let's focus on this sailor. Because they're damaging one of my important characters. Okay, next up, we'll take out the medic. That's just because they're an easy mark. So now we'll take the sailor. We definitely benefit from putting them towards fixing the fires anyway. Oh, or the leak. Alright, my marine's in trouble, so this time I'm going to send him straight for a heal because my captain's a pretty good fighter anyway. No! Don't get back on the... Alright, well fortunately the matter's over. Alright, thanks a lot for stopping by, GNR/. I'm probably going to be wrapping up soon myself anyway. But... So that was more or less the strategy working as intended. A little scary with the health, but as long as people don't drop, we're okay. You and the crew strip the enemy vessel bare. Melancholic, you realize that you've created a ghost ship. You say a silent thank you and hurriedly depart back to your own. Alright, what else have we got? So the cult is hunting me. We've got a couple of ships, and we've got an event. So the question is, do I want to do all the ships? And I think the answer is yes. You catch sight of a small ship flying signal flans that mean, please spare food, we are starving. As you draw near, it's clear that the crew are emaciated, with only a few seem able to stand. A horrid fate to endure, donate a generous care package of supplies to ensure their continued survival. I mean, we've got a lot of supplies, so yes. Your men set to boarding along with all the food you can spare. The starving crew pounce upon the supplies in a frenzy. When they've recovered some of their strength, they thank you tearily, and they give you valuable tokens for their thanks. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good exchange rate, all told. Well, actually, it's not as good as when we buy the low-cost food, but part of the strategy here is, again, buy low, sort of sell high. Obviously, that sale that I did in port wasn't really worth a whole lot, but 700 supplies seems really high to have in any circumstance. So this is the only one I need to do, but I will do the other 2 events. A ship moves within range, and before you know it, they've opened fire. A lucky shot destroys the mast section. You'll need to perform some mid-battle repairs before it's usable again. Now this is unfortunate because, of course, the masts will be how I can close the distance. That's fine, that's why God invented sailors, and we'll just keep dropping acid on people. Looks like they're getting in close anyway, but... Oh, you bastards. Alright, get the gunner on the fires.
Brace for impact!
Alright. I'm gonna get the sailor on fire duty. No marines, so we'll go straight for the captain. Hope for the best. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. We need to put out all the fires. And again, we're focusing on what did I just send the acid on. Okay. Fortunately... Oh, I just screwed up. Fortunately, my guys won't be hit by that acid. It will, however, damage their sailor. Okay, my gunner's in a little bit of trouble. I think, yeah, we can manage it though, so... Again, I want to keep an eye on my health down here, but... Oh, and my ship's burning. Should probably focus on that. A fine victory. Your crew find great trunks in the hold of preserved fish and citrus fruits. Welcome provisions for recovering their strength. Let's get out of this menu before my ship burns. All right, so again, like I said, that was the last thing we needed to do. I'm going to do these 2 events up top because the cult is nowhere near me, and generally these events give me more supplies, golden supplies, than it costs in repairs. So, plus it lets me extend the length of the stream for a little bit longer. Your ship is on course to pass by a vessel of uncertain origin. It sits low in the water. It must be heavy laden with cargo. The stores could be essential for a mission. We can't miss this opportunity. You move to intercept, and a number of the other crew begin to frantically waving red flags. Hold fire. Let us begin to bring us into parley range. As soon as you're within range, the other ship's captain bellows out. A wise person would choose not to attack a ship transporting gunpowder. What sort of person are you? His crew hoist up a few barrels to illustrate his point. It's not a bluff you're willing to call. You give the order to sail on. So we got that event before. I should probably commit to the decision one way or the other, but okay. Rats, more and more. You dwell on them, no doubt scurrying around, sniffing after your food stores. You'll stand it for no longer. After a thorough search, your crew return with a sack full of wriggling forms. The meat is poor but edible. Prepare them for cooking or toss them over the side. Let the little buggers drown. Yeah, I have no need for the extra morale, but I definitely don't want to lose it. I believe that is it for this map, and this will be it for the stream tonight. But let's see what the next section looks like. We'll get a taste for what's coming up. I am a little scared that I'll just wind up... I'm a little scared that I'll just wind up going deep into the next map, so I'm going to be a little strict with myself for wrapping up. But I think I'm a little more inclined to this. I mean, it's a shipwreck or a skull and bones. I think I'm going to go for this one because it looks a little nicer. A fearsome gale blows through this area, your masts creaking ominously. Particularly strong gusts can trigger a brace test in combat. Fail this and your crew will be knocked off their feet or potentially blown overboard. At the apex of the gale, it will damage your mast section. Oh man, this is going to be a really fun one to go with. So I'm pausing right now just because, again, the cult timer goes up if you sit around. So I suspect this map will be really cool to look at because you can already see some of the winds. But again, I am going to save that for another time, so we'll save and exit. For those of you curious about the game, there is sort of like an Iron Man mode to it and whatnot. Actually, I'm going to try... Let's see if I can show... Yes, okay. So for those of you wondering about those scenarios I was talking about, so we are on the main campaign here, Voyage of the Severed. Escape the clutches of the cult of Halifron and foil their attempts at world domination. The main campaign features a full tutorial for those playing Abandoned Ship for the first time. Performs autosaves as you play. By finding captain's logs, you may be able to perform manual... you may perform manual saves in port. So I believe the idea here is... it's Iron Man if you want it to be. There's free play, which is probably the one I'll maybe try next. Destiny Reclaimed, your heritage and the restoration of your family's honor awaits. Find the ruined base of the Pirate King and make it your own. Free play mode is an entirely unlocked world ready to be explored however you wish. Set in the aftermath of the world-changing events of the main story for those people that want a complete freedom in how they tackle the game. Autosave allows you to continue from your last save position within a map. Use a captain's log to manually save. The Cult Campaign, Sword of the Cult. Experience the story of a devout cultist as they climb the ranks while seeking vengeance on the Severed One. Those who please the Father sufficiently may be gifted brief reign over his greatest instrument, the Kraken. Approximate duration, 3 hours. Autosave allows you to continue from your last save position within a map. Use a captain's log to manually save in cult bases. This campaign is challenging and thus intended for experienced players. Haunted Seas, what lies beyond. A routine delivery goes awry when you become trapped beyond the veil. Battle ghost ships and worse as you explore the strange unknown places of the Haunted Seas. Uncover the truth behind a personal tragedy in this short side story. Approximate duration, 60 to 90 minutes. Load a captain's log to resume from the start of the map you reached. Autosave allows you to continue from your last save position within a map. And finally, a combat campaign, Blood Ties. Fight through 10 combat encounters as you attempt to rescue your sister from the notorious skin merchants. Occasional port visits will allow repairs and upgrades as you battle against your enemies and the environment in this short combat-focused side story. Approximate duration, 30 to 45 minutes, and there is no saving during the combat campaign. So, there's quite a bit in here. I mean, I've just been playing the main campaign. As you can see, I have liked this game a lot. Fireblade was kind enough to give me a key. I'm glad that they did, because I like playing this stuff. I like coming back to this stuff. Even this screen, like, it's a really good looking game, and I find it really diverting just in terms of the combination of I think they really got the navigating the map, and like the division between navigating the map and the combat. Obviously I still stumble over a couple of things inside the game, but I don't play games to like completely master them. I probably should be putting this on the credits while I talk about it, but I probably won't have time to show the whole credit sequence, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously I'm really happy they gave it out to me. As always, I disclaim that as well, because it's up to you to decide whether or not this is something you want to pick up and at what price. If it's not enough to compel you to buy it at full price, and I realize this is a really common thing that a lot of people do, the one thing that I would encourage you to do is to at least wishlist it. Obviously, a wish list is not going to, you don't spend anything for that. But one thing it really does for developers is it lowers the cost of reaching out to you. So if you are already interested in this game, even if you sign up for the newsletter, and I encourage you to do so because it does mean you get to put a name inside the game, but even if you do a newsletter, obviously, they need to spend money on MailChimp or whatever to send out those email blasts. If you go to the wish list, all of those costs are absorbed by Steam, and it's one of the reasons why they're able to charge, the 30% for games. So if you are interested in this game and you've just decided that it's not, if it's just not quite at the price point that you're willing to work with, I would encourage you to, at the very least, wishlist the game, because it's one of the best ways to get word out, not just to you when sales come up, but it also lets other people who might be following you on Steam. It is a way of sort of helping to support the developer through getting the word out, because for independent games, there's always going to be more people who have not heard of a title rather than have heard of it. So just a couple of little ways that you can make a difference on the margin without spending the money. So anyways, that is it for me. Let's see if we can find somebody to host. I will take a quick look to see if anybody is streaming Abandoned Ship. But if not, I've got a couple of people who I like watching who I'm sure you'll enjoy as well. Abandoned Ship. I am the only one streaming that. That is a pity. All right. Johnny Big Time is streaming Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and Johnny is one of my favorite streamers. He's actually, I was playing the Division 2 with him yesterday. Great guy. He has gone through the entire Souls series, including Demon Souls, and it was a great time watching him play those. So I'm really curious how he's going to take on Sekiro. I do encourage you guys to kick around, whether or not you want to give that raid message. We're tired of system talk, heard this place was better. I'm sort of indifferent one way or the other. I do encourage you to hang out for Johnny. He is, in my opinion, one of the hidden gems of Twitch. I think in a fair world, our follower accounts would be switched, because he's a much more consistent caster than me. He's very entertaining, and he definitely knows how to keep the action going in the game while interacting with chat. So I'm going to stop talking. I hope you enjoy his broadcast. As far as my future plans are concerned, I will still try to do the regular Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've already got the next Elder Scrolls Morrowind episode recorded for Tuesday. But again, I did start off by saying that I do have that coding test coming up, and I would really like to figure out... again, I've never done one before, and I also, this place, I'm not 100% sure what they're looking for. I know what I'm skilled at, but it would be good to try and prepare as well as I can, and essentially it means preparing for everything. So I may allow myself a couple of spare days just to try and sharpen up my abilities. I'm I want the job, but no point in talking too much about it before it happens. So anyways, have a lovely evening, and we will see you next time.